Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. We are, unfortunately, doing another episode review. Yeah, it's a piece of work. But I am joined once again by Inquisitor Sage and Inquisitor Matapocalypse. I almost said Matapocalypse, but that would be weird. How you doing, Sage?
I'm alive.
So he's doing terrible. Got it. How about you, Matt?
I'm alive.
Wow, I got twice for the price of one.
And I got the right guys to investigate the horror with me. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. They can take this monstrosity out while watching it.
No, I don't think they're enough.
Well,
more
if you're not
firepower.
allowed to be pedantic and criticize TV shows anymore, which apparently you can't do, it's unlikely that these guys will be enough to do what we need them to do. Just saying. Now, would I like them to be? Yes. I wish nothing was required. I wish they made a good TV show. I wish they actually put people in charge who knew what they were doing and loved the source material more than me, because that means they would be a freaking zealot on steroids. Unfortunately, none of the above is true. So,
if wishes were fishes, we could feed the whole world.
If wishes were horses, more beggars would ride them.
Of course.
Yeah.
I like the fish one better.
Of course you do, because you're a beggar. Anyway, I guess we'll just jump into it. Episode 7. Now, I am not sure how I'm supposed to take the way the series is, because unless they start the next episode at Al-Kerdal, I have no idea what they're going to end the series or the end of season off of.
They showed Al-Kerdal in the preview as one of the first things, so probably.
If they follow a pattern, the opening is going to be...
I say Al-Kerdal, but it's
a wannabe Al-Kerdal.
More terrible than we could ever have imagined from that picture.
If they follow a pattern, the opening of the next episode is going to be Luce there and Telemann.
But I was thinking if they were going to be following any stringent story of the books, which I know they're not capable of doing, but if they were going to, they would start out with Al-Kerdal, like them arriving at Al-Kerdal, and then they would end the episode with the Shido invading Kyrian and a big battle between them and the Shido trying to protect Kyrian, and then they could end it there and jump into the next season with a fresh start, but that would leave tensions high. But I know they're not going to do that because they do nothing but disappoint me. And if they manage to pull that off, they're going to just somehow manage to make it terrible. So, I don't know. But so we start off with the two... I still think this is dumb. Like, this is the two rivers. Now, if you look at the map in the book, you have the road that goes north and south, and that road
also
has one side is a forest and a mountain, and the other side has small, tiny pockets of forest and trees, but not anywhere near the actual town, and the rest of it's all farmland.
We should remember that it's actually called Emmons Fields for a reason, right?
No, now you're just being pedantic and unrealistic and totally, whatever, but it's definitely, this is what they would consider a field. This is the Netflix version of a field.
Sure.
But no, like, seriously though, if you look on the map, it's literally no trees in this entire area because it's all just farmland.
And also,
you can't use farmland where there's forests. You have to put the forest in the outside.
The river is going through a valley. I don't recall.
The valley's not that close.
Yeah, but I also don't recall that being like actually there in the mountains of mist.
I mean, there could have been a river, or not really a river, more like a creek or whatever. I don't know how big that thing is, but the actual two rivers, which I guess would come from this direction, it's gonna like.
So you have mountains on this side,
I guess, well, from the bottom,
and then there's like the sand dunes in between, and then the forest, and then here you have Emmons Field.
Yeah, on the other side of the road
going north.
The river is not actually near.
And
east of Emmons Field is all fields, right?
I shared something. There you go.
Can you zoom in?
Right. See,
I'm trying.
there's a field
Try control
near,
scroll.
near Emmons Field.
Hey, there we go.
And the
All right.
mountains is entirely mountains.
So notice the severe lack of trees on the side of the
field.
actual Emmons
Yes.
Field town.
And for reference, the Two Rivers is like the county. Emmons Field is
Yeah.
one of the towns in the county.
So you have Devon
Mhm.
Ride, Watch Hill, and Emmons Field are the three
Yeah.
towns you'd have. The Waterwood.
Technically Perrin and Faile, but not really.
Well, they're not part of the Two Rivers. They're technically speaking the other side. But you have the River Tarn coming out of the mountains, yeah, sure,
Yep.
go for it. And then you can't see it on this particular map, but at the bottom, underneath, there's a river that cuts off this part of Andor / the Two Rivers from Gilodon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's called the Two Rivers, because it's got the two rivers separating it.
And then you have the wine spring, which starts in Emmons Field, I think.
Looks like it, yeah. Why that is that case, I don't know. But
Well, there could be a natural spring there, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's the wine
Yeah.
spring inn, right? So
well, there is a like a wellspring of some sort, but I didn't know if it was like enough to make that much of water impact.
You need to remember, like when there's a river, there's literally thousands of streams feeding into it. You know,
Sure.
like there isn't just one like source. There's
Yeah, but I'm saying from this image, it starts in Emmons Field, and it is one all the way down until it branches off into
but
two.
they're not going to
then
show
three,
the
then
thousands
four.
of little streams and whatever from
Sure, and maybe it's just there's a lot of pressure in that one particular in the wine spring itself. But
no, it doesn't. So here's a geology as far. So when you get the source of water that begins running, it'll cause it. Let's say it's a small source, just a natural spring, right? It's going to carve a path of least resistance going, generally speaking, downhill, right?
Yeah.
And as it carves that path, other sources of water will come from, say, maybe a local pond or from a local spring or from farmers' runoff or whatever. And it's going to go downhill. Eventually, they're going to meet one of those streams, and the parent one, the one that was there first, becomes the river because all of them merge into it.
yeah, and I mean, it's kind of my point either way, but it's not really necessary or matter. But you see at the bottom, it has the White River. I don't know if the White River is considered is that considered the second river, or is that another river just like the Wine Spring?
We close the image.
Which one?
Oh,
Here's the geography of the Two Rivers. Like the Two Rivers are region of the Westlands, blah blah blah, which derives its name from the two rivers that mark its boundaries: the Tarn River to the north and the White River to the south. It contains the village of Tarn Ferry, Devon Ride, Emmons Field, and Watch Hill, along with many independent farms.
Yeah. So the White River would be the one between Gilodon and the Two Rivers / Andor.
Yeah.
Which would make sense for being called the Two Rivers. Shocking. There
Yeah.
are in fact two rivers, but not in Wheel of Prime, because in Wheel of Prime there's more rivers because they can't be accurate. They have to make more because more is better. Because if we change the books and the lore, how could it not be better? Because we're better writers than Robert Jordan himself, because he doesn't know how to do anything, right?
And I also forgot about the fields. So
The fields of Emmons Field, which is kind of an important detail, but okay. Yeah. I don't know what to do with like the information that if you're going to do the bare minimum, like it would be easier for them to find a place that's like a big open plains and then drop the city there than to like literally digitize it into this little cubby hole. And that town looks super tiny. That can't hold like 1,000 people in it.
Yeah, that's like what, 5 houses? One of which is the inn.
It's more like 8.
Well,
but one of them's the smithy. One of them's probably like the
they-
grocer. And then you have the cobbler. And then you have the thatcher. And then, you have the actual inn.
They
But it's different from the actual first episode of season 1 when, was it episode 1 when Beltane happens?
I think that's episode 1, yeah.
Well, they dramatically cut down the population of the Two Rivers.
But that's because they burned it down and then they realized, oh shit, we need it for another scene, so we need to
Well,
rebuild
I should
it.
say either either showrunner dramatically the population down, or Marine killed them all on
Well,
the way out.
it's like if you ever play a video game that's like a fantasy or whatever, and you go into a town and there's like 1,000 people in the town, but there's like 3 houses, and you're like,
Yeah.
this ratio isn't adding up.
So
And-
this is basically like Riverwood, right?
But
from
in this
Skyrim.
situation, you can't even argue that it's a person. Like half the people have other farms elsewhere because it's literally a ginormous forest in every direction.
Yep.
There
Well, not
are
only
no
that, but-
fields to have
but
farms.
Two Rivers are big enough to house the refugee populations of the other local towns and villages.
Yeah.
So when they were all start to gather there, that's why Perrin had such a big ass army
Yeah.
of neo, what we call it, neo-Manetherin or whatever you want to call it. But,
Neomanetherin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the Two Rivers is what it's called.
This is it's a silly concept. And here's another closer like town look.
Oh
And
yeah, okay. I guess there are a few
1,
more
2,
houses than
3,
5.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus the inn. Like, but again, 10 houses. And first off, they're not thatch roofed. They're wooden tile, whatever those things are called. Slat? Is it slat roof?
I don't know.
I think those are wood slats. Like
yeah,
wood,
they're wood slat. They're not thatch, which they would be thatched. That's what Senbui's literal job is. He's the thatcher. And they're like, hey, we're going to have Senbui, but we're not going to have thatch. I'm like, then you don't have Senbui because he's the thatcher.
Maybe they don't know what thatch is.
I doubt
That
it.
could be.
I doubt they know what it is. They don't have watchtowers there either.
No, maybe they built this one for the Trolloc invasion.
But they wouldn't know that.
No, they've been fighting Trollocs, right, for a while now.
No,
Well, I mean,
they fought them at Beltane. They all left. And
Yeah,
for all they
maybe
know,
they
they're
thought,
not coming
we-
back.
we could maybe use a watchtower in case this happens again. I don't
Well,
know.
they would need one on each north, south, east, and west, and probably each of the corners. They would need like a total of 8.
No, but there's only one gate, don't you know?
I
Yeah,
know,
but
right?
No.
'Cause the books
We know
totally don't
that-
have a 4-way
no.
gate.
We know they would need that, but very few of them have military experience to know. And
That's true.
And
You don't
Tam is
need
fairly-
military experience. I've never been
No,
in the
what do you mean?
military, and I
They,
know
they
that.
are perfectly.
Okay,
acquainted
let me put
with
it this
that,
way.
right? They have the old blood, right? They
By
know
the time we
just
us,
instinctively.
like us are 10 years old, we have more raw knowledge than most adult people in medieval times.
Yeah. And somehow they managed to do better artwork and architecture.
So,
and
for
stuff.
example, they haven't read the tons of military and
um,
fantasy books that we have probably read by the time we're 12 years old to know you need
Well,
watchtowers around the whole
I don't know
wall.
about you guys specifically, but most people probably wouldn't have read like military strategy books by the time they're 12.
No, but
I
I'm
played
saying
Age of
us.
Empires too from
No.
like
We have specific
10, so
we
yeah, I'm pretty
all
smart.
will read that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Like regular people might have watched war movies or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, there's a raw. We have so much information gathered in our
But
head.
to be fair, our warfare
bit
styles are
different.
also very different nowadays.
No, but you could. Odds are you've watched like tons of medieval. Not you, but like
Okay, maybe.
people in the
Yeah,
modern
sure.
era have watched tons of medieval warfare stuff, like Kingdom of Heaven or whatever. You know, or
Yeah, maybe, but I think World War II stuff is probably more popular.
Perrin is
regardless,
back
the
to
point is,
being...
by the time we're 12 or 13 years old, we have a knowledge base in general that would know you need more than one watchtower. The average medieval person is going to be like, "What the fuck is a watchtower?"
It's a tower you watch.
I mean, it makes sense.
So we got Perrin, and he's a blacksmith now.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we got
also,
all the
they
people-
all have spears and swords, right? Like, if they just made like 1 million a while back. Okay, maybe not the front guys, but those in the back have a bunch of spears.
They have these little tiny top head, like arrowhead spears.
They're
That's not
all-
what they would look like.
They're all exactly the same, like they're mass produced. Same with
Oh
the
my God.
swords.
Well, they're trying to
And-
do the scythe that the blacksmith straightens out. So like, you know, if Harald Luhan went and took a scythe and straightened it out, more or less, that's what it would
And
look like.
yeah,
You're
that's-
seeing my biggest pet
why did
peeve
you
of
do
this
that?
episode, by the way.
Catswain?
So, so I understand this is all hands on deck situation, and yes, the women
Mhm.
would fight in that situation. Okay,
Yep.
but they would not be on the front lines.
No,
Okay.
they'd be the second
mean,
line, and that's what they
as-
are in the story.
As bad
To
as
be
it
fair,
was,
that's also what they are in the show, right?
well, as
No,
bad
they're
as,
not.
as that
The
scene
women's
where the
circle,
women's
they
circle goes,
defend like
women's
only
circle hold the line with a
Yes, the
phalanx.
women's circle exclusively in the show, but actually in the rest of the group, when every time they're at the front area of like the pass, there's
Fair
constantly
enough.
women in there.
Yeah.
They get shot by arrows. They obviously are on the front.
True.
Like
true.
the way they would have done this, and they did this in the book, is
I mean,
the women would have been on the walls or managing supplies, so the men could fight better and whatever,
Mhm.
and not saying they wouldn't fight because they had all hands on deck, but this is, and I know this is an ultra left wing, so I'm not. I know why we know why they did it, but it's bullshit that it happened that way.
Yeah, and then we got the Tuatha on. He calls them Tuatha on. He should have called them Tinkers. That irritated me a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
And because nobody knows what a Tuatha on is outside
Oh
of
no,
like the
you
Aiel.
know why they're not going to call them Tinkers more and more?
Because it's a slur or something. I don't know.
In the real world, they're kind of analogous to the Romani or the Gypsies, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gypsies is considered a slur now.
But they're Tinkers though. That's not Gypsies.
No, but in their heads, everything represents something in the real world.
So if you call them Tuatha on, guess what? You're calling them Gypsies. Congratulations, you've played yourself.
No, they're called in their weirdo leftist world. They're calling them like Romani.
Yeah.
Which is still a slur. But
No, that's the name
Oh,
of
I
their
see.
people.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
No, Romani is the name of their people in the real world.
I know, but a lot of people still consider that a slur.
Which, if you
So
translate,
there's a
if you
slight
translate, it
obsession
means
with
the
going
Gypsies,
for
but,
ethnonyms rather than exonyms. So
Yeah.
Tinkers would be an exonym. It's how the rest of the people call the Tinkers.
Well, no.
But
The funny thing in the real world, if you translate Romani from their language, it translates as the Gypsies.
yeah, but they have their own name in their own language, right? It's like how, for example, you guys would say the Dutch, whereas we would, in our own language, say Nederlander.
I mean,
Right? But it means well, I guess Dutch doesn't really mean anything. So
Dutch is a
that.
dead language.
But the same here. So
yeah,
everyone says
lost
Tinkers.
Yeah. Not
And
getting
the
lost in the
Romani, of
details.
course, have their own language version of that name. But the obsession is if you call someone by not their ethnonym name, then you're being racist because it's a name imposed on them.
Are we racist
it's the
because
same
we say?
reason why you have to call the Eskimos Inuits, right?
Are we racist because we say
Inuit is only
Japanese,
like-
not Nihon?
Yes. No, they don't count because they're white adjacent.
Oh, with their really dark colored skin in some places.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my.
It's only the African.
Well, there's no
type people that you have to do this with.
there's nobody saying like, no, we're not gonna come into your town thing. We'll just stay outside or whatever. Like they don't put up a fight at all.
Also, I guess we'll kill off another father figure.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it's not like he was a father figure, to be
Okay.
fair.
And another thing is, they
Why
messed up the
supposed to
nature
be?
of the
Well, yes,
Tinkers.
he was the actual leader of the Tinkers, but unfortunately, they replaced with Isla because that's how that works.
Yeah, but
So-
he's actually supposed to live through the whole thing.
Yeah, except for the fact that the feminists and the gay adjacent feminists also don't want him alive because he's a good he's a good male figure,
But
despite being lost.
so the Tinkers, like when they were in the village, like they were sort doing anything other than violating their oath. They would actually help with the wounded and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know
they would
what I
take
mean?
care of the kids. They would
Yeah.
medically help people and whatever.
Yeah. And here they're just there for the escape.
Bane and Chiad. Everybody was complaining about Faile being more of a girl boss, but it's like, I mean, she
with
kinda
her
is in the
specifically,
books.
It's fine.
well, she kind of is in the book, but she's got a fiery temper and is like, I can look out for myself. But she kind of eventually
Yeah.
gets over that. But we've
I'm
only just
more
met her,
annoyed
so
by Bane and Chiad's permanent horniness, let's call it.
oh my gosh. Well, they're redheads, so clearly.
Well,
Is
the
that how it
problem with the whole
works?
girl boss
guess.
plus complaint is, yes, she is a girl boss. She's raised to be a ruler, but they don't show any of that in this. Like she was, we read in the book, we know she's organizing things all the time and all that.
Well, she
Like,
also
this-
helps Perrin make decisions that help him
Yeah,
learn to organize.
She talks him through stuff and all that. Here she does none of that. She just goes around, issues an order and disappears. Like they don't show any of her character development.
Well, they don't show any character development in the show. Everybody's the same as what they were.
Except for Leandrin. Leandrin gets the star of the show.
But she didn't get character development. She's literally the same as she was the first episode. Nothing has changed.
Well, of course. But the point is, they actually show character stuff.
They show character stuff. They don't show character growth. Like, no single character in the entirety of this series has any character development or character growth. And they may change in a particular manner, like Rand goes from being a sheep herder to the Dragon Reborn, who may have an IEL army at his back, but he hasn't changed. Like, he hasn't gone through any particular change. He's still him, just in a different place with a different title that comes with other responsibilities. That's literally it. He doesn't do anything different. He might as well be a 12-year-old that stays 12 for forever. I'm looking at you, Pokemon. But
Wow. He's 10 years old, actually, I think.
I can't stand Aya. ARM's kind of annoying as well. And they're talking about this, and Perrin's like, "Oh, I'm going to become one of the Tuatha without being one of the Tuatha because it's time to put my weapons down and all that stupid crap." Perrin would never do that because he realizes he has to be the monster on the field to protect those who won't protect themselves. That's his thing.
Exactly.
That's literally his character. And the whole Bane and Chiad trying to convince.
Yeah,
Is
did I
Loyal
miss
getting
something?
fatter
When
and
did they
fatter
get
every
Toe
season?
to Loyal?
What'd you say?
So is it Bane or Chiad? One of them
Chiad's the
has,
short one, Bane's the tall one.
Yeah, one of them has Toe to Loyal, apparently.
I think it's Chiad.
But
Because she can't have it to Gaul. She has to.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Loyal is replacing Gaul in this scenario.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And Alana / Morel is.
And so we're in the part
Also,
of the show.
Days Gonga suddenly being an old channeling
channeler
person.
Who's just
right
as strong
around
as
here.
everybody else with no training, no usage of the power or anything. She just literally just says, "Oh,
Yeah,
I
she
can
can
channel,
just-
can I? All right
she can
then,
just
let's
see
do
it.
it."
Well, no. She first has to stop drinking for some reason.
So from right around here to about 25 minutes in,
Don't
remember
magic and drive, people.
Yeah.
Granted, how we got here is horrible, and the story is horrible. But there were a couple little moments in there. I was like, okay, this is watchable. You know what I mean? Some of the small moments of the battle and some of those character moments, if you took them in total isolation, if they were just 30 seconds on the internet or whatever, it's okay.
I guess, yeah. But as soon as you know the context.
I'm
it
still
falls.
annoyed
Yeah.
that the Green Aja uses the alleged modern concept of Viking hairstyles, because that's totally something Aes Sedai would do.
But only she has that, right?
We haven't seen exactly very many Aes Sedai.
Well, we
with
have seen
green.
one other green, and that one just had a normal hairstyle.
Wild hairstyles. Send Bowie acting like he's a military guy. Give me a Two Rivers longbow and I'll hold your line all night. Except I don't think Sen can actually fire a longbow because he's so freaking small.
Yeah, and why is it they all have Two Rivers? Why would they even do this? This is the thing. They would be carrying their Two Rivers longbows around.
They would be known for the Two Rivers stuff, the Two Rivers longbow, before they even got to the training.
And Alana / Morel would know that.
But their Two Rivers longbow are actually short bows. So
Remember,
that's
she's
awesome.
supposed to be an expert in warfare. That's part of the Green Raja. That's part of her.
Well, I wouldn't call them short
no.
bows necessarily.
They're supposed to be
They're still
trained
quite
in.
long.
They're supposed to be trained in warfare. That's part of their Aja's thing.
Well, I
To be
would
the
say,
battle Aja.
the train in warfare is different than being a battle Aja, because being trained in the one power as a weapon and having warders to help you be a weapon is a lot different than commanding armies and training troops. And
Again,
stuff.
you'd have to integrate your abilities with human battle capabilities. You have to be trained in strategy and tactics. There's no way around it. That's like saying to someone who fires
Or
artillery.
you can just drop a fireball on them.
Well,
That too.
people who are trained in artillery in the military are trained on how to work with others and with strategy and tactics. So you know when to apply your artillery strikes and all that. Like she's an artillery piece basically, and she would have.
I mean, she could be a frontliner too, but that's a different story.
Well, artillery can be on the front line. So
Moraine in the books was a frontliner.
artillery can be on the front line or at range. It could be either. Artillery isn't just giant cannons; it's small, mobile mortars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, point is, she should have training to know more than what she shows here. And all she's doing here is character stuff. She should be going around saying, "Okay, you should have a formation so you should be in this formation. So when I use the one power to help you, I don't blow you up by accident or whatever."
But to be fair, they did do a sort of a plan, right?
But it's a half like the plan should be coming. Basically, we mentioned this before. Faile urging Perrin should be the source of this plan with input from other people. We should be seeing Perrin slowly and unwillingly take command of the situation. We get very little of that, you know. This whole episode should be Perrin. If they're going to do it the way they do in the show, let's pretend Robert Jordan died in Vietnam, never wrote the Wheel of Time. They meant this whole way, okay, for the sake of argument, okay.
Yeah.
This episode should be about Perrin growing into the reluctant soldier to the commander, like the reluctant but still commander, showing with Faile saying, "Okay, Perrin, we should see what she's showing him on the map. Say we have the wall here and here. We need 50 guys on this wall, you know." And explain to him why. And he said, "Okay, what if we use our Two Rivers archers over here?" Like showing his growth in that way, like as they work together. And with Alana there saying, pointing out some of this stuff too, and Macklin, we get none of that. We just get little bits and moments which individually could be good, but the whole episode is a writing fail because every time you think they give you some 30-second of good stuff, the next scene is like the Two Rivers women's circle going, "We will hold the line" with like a freaking phalanx, you know.
Like the 300 Spartans.
Yeah, like not like what you might expect is they would have some Two Rivers longbows inside that inn or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I figured if you have Two Rivers longbows and you have a mountain pass, which they don't have either of those things. Well, I mean, if they had Two Rivers longbows, which they should have from the books, and you have a mountain pass, which they don't have in the books, you would be able to kill them before they even had a chance to fire at you, because they'd be coming around the corner, dead. Come around the corner, dead. Come around the corner, dead. Yeah. Like, it wouldn't even be a problem. You just have the Fletcher being busy all the time. Excuse me. But, like, here you have Ivone, and he does not understand anything about the Two Rivers tactics. Where in the books, the warders are aware of the Two Rivers longbow and let them build on their strengths. And then those who don't use the Two Rivers longbow use things like spears, or they would use spears when the longbow is no longer usable right up to the last moment. Like, but the warders were actually intelligent. He's like, "Oh, we're going to just do this." And Senbui's like, "I'm going to correct you because you don't know what you're talking about," kind of a thing.
And he doesn't.
And he doesn't.
Senbui is actually correct here. And I guess technically Alana as well.
Yeah, and then they get the wolf head, and
yeah,
I don't know why it's such a big thing, but see here you see the two longbows in the right corner. That's a longbow apparently. But we know that a longbow is actually bigger than that because a longbow is so big you have to turn it sideways.
Those are just regular bows. Short bows are not that big though.
Well, I think there were a couple short bows at the mountain pass.
But like short bows are so
they're horn bows.
If you take me, they're like twice this.
Yeah, they're not that big. Yes,
they're very small. But this is a regular bow.
Sure. I don't know why Senbui's smiling right now, but he's weird.
Well, he looked at
those veins though, man. Holy crap. Everyone's looking up to the banner because reasons. There's been no discussion about it, and they're just going to be like, "Oh, no."
Faile just said, "Oh, I told them that Trollocs are afraid of wolves, right? So that's enough, surely."
I don't know why she would have a direct line to Lord Luke. Oh, here's a whole line of longbows.
See, those do look roughly long enough.
No, a Two Rivers longbow. That's a standard longbow. A Two Rivers longbow would be so big that you'd have to turn, and you'd have to pull like up in order to fire it because it's so freaking big. Like I've seen pictures of them from the like at scale of Two Rivers quality. Oops, sorry, and they're freaking huge. They're not small.
Yeah.
Okay, but these are just longbows.
A real world English longbow is about 6 feet long.
Yeah, which is one person.
Well, 1 6-foot person.
Slightly more.
No, that's
walks the room. What are you talking about?
That's 6 feet long, not 6 feet. Like when it's not strong.
And
Yeah, no, when it's strong, it gets shorter.
Yeah.
this irritates me so much that the Children of the Light use battle axes, a double bladed battle axe. That's not what they do.
should use lances.
Well, lances and swords.
Yeah, but like
I don't.
mostly
Do they use
lances.
shields? I don't even think they use shields.
Probably, but who
I
knows?
don't remember any reference of shields, but I mean, at least they use swords.
He has a gambason on, so that's at least
Gambeson?
somewhat. Yeah.
I mean, it's more like a pillowcase, but yeah.
Well, a gambason is basically a pillowcase with the arms is really thick. You know?
Yeah, but it looks more fluffy than thick.
I mean,
I don't know why Lord Luke is with the White Cloaks, but we haven't gotten anything about Lord Luke and this whole thing, so I don't like. He hasn't played his role at all, so we don't know what the purpose is.
but they use axes because Perrin has history with axes, right?
No, he doesn't, though. That's the problem. He doesn't have history with axes. He's supposed to have a history.
No,
with
he
axes.
killed his wife with an axe, right?
Did he?
I think so.
Is it when he pulled off the Trollocs? Because I don't think he had access to one early. He must have pulled it off.
I don't remember that much detail, but
Faile
pretty
using
sure he had
a short bow here.
Yeah, and that's fair. Short bows are.
I'll give him credit. She didn't pull it because you'd strain the wire, but
true. But on the other hand, there was a random NPC in the background that did just sort of to test floop, and it was no effort at all.
well, yeah, because it's not real bows.
Yeah.
That or they're a professional archer. And he pulls
Probably
the netting.
not.
She was a witch. Burn her, burn. That's the first thing that came into my mind. Like, Dane doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care about Aes Sedai as much as you think. Like, he wouldn't care if there were multiple Aes Sedai. It'd be the Questioners and the Inquisition.
But
and all
also,
that.
wasn't it?
So-
It's like second in
Jarrett
command.
Bayar, yeah.
Yeah, he cares.
Now, if you guys remember better than me, this whole sub arc with Perrin surrendering and all that's all show crap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no, he does make the promise.
He makes the promise that if they helped, he would
but they
turn
didn't
himself
help.
over. They showed up, but they didn't participate, and he said, "You broke your promise."
No, okay, that's what I kind of remember because I remember him fighting both the White Cloaks and the Trollocs.
Well, he didn't
fight the White Cloaks.
He didn't fight the White Cloaks. He broke into their camp, got the Cothans and the Luhans out, and they chased him, but they couldn't because Varen makes this giant storm thing to cover their tracks. So they get out, and that's when.
And who killed his family? The Trollocs or the White Cloaks?
That's
put on
specifically Baden Fane.
As Ordith.
So that was the Trollocs, basically.
No.
Well,
he was using
it was
dark friends that are White Cloaks.
Infiltrating the White Cloaks, yeah.
No. There were dark friend White Cloaks that were with him, and he was like, it was the group. It was the group of White Cloaks that didn't like clean their clothes. They weren't bright and shiny and stuff. They were like,
oh yeah, okay. So
stuff.
Fane shows up. We'll get to it later. Okay. Does anyone besides Perrin know that Perrin ran and all that know that Fane is evil?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think only the small group of people who've been associated with it know he's evil.
Yeah.
Whereas
if you saw Baden Fane
Rand
come
didn't
in,
even know when he met Baden Fane in Baerlon, right? It's only at
he does at Caemlyn, I believe.
Well, by the time
in Caemlyn he realizes, but it's only then that he knows and he tells the others. So it's only the group there.
Eventually.
So by the time we get to this point in the book, the Aes Sedai know Fane is evil, so they would have spread.
No. Only Moraine.
Yeah, only
she would have told the other Aes Sedai about a dark friend.
No, because they went up to Shinar immediately. They didn't go to Tarvalon or anything. She didn't have a way to tell anybody. They just booked it.
Very maybe, perhaps Varen.
Well, Varen has a history.
Would she reveal that? No, but Moraine would have our network to get worked up to the other blue.
Well, no, because Moraine also tries to use him. That's the whole thing at Shinar, because he's being driven by the Dark One, but he gets grabbed by the Shadar Logoth.
Yeah. Moraine knows. I assume probably Swan knows.
Maybe, but why would you say, hey, some random dark friend peddler is a dark friend?
Because he was captured and
In
the
Shinar,
prison
yes,
in
but then he gets
Shinar.
out.
Yeah, but before he gets out, the Aes Sedai come,
Possibly.
I think.
But
Because Varen,
he's treated like a wretch. He's not treated like
Yeah,
some
yeah.
top tier dark friend
Varen
or anything.
is going into the prison after he escapes and deciphering the letters on the wall, right? The prophecy. So Varen probably knows, because then again, spoilers. Varen has a certain sources, let's say. Swan probably got told by Moraine. Moraine knows there's something weird going on with him. But they probably would not tell the other Aes Sedai because, of course, they have a whole secret mission.
Okay.
Of course, in the book, Varen is there in the Two Rivers. Not here, though. So
yeah. So okay. I will. I don't necessarily agree with all that, but we discussed it. Let's just get moving.
Yeah, the White Cloaks definitely do not know, and all of the Two Rivers people also do not know because they thought Perrin and Faile was just a regular peddler.
You know, that's another thing that's missing from this show. Granted that obviously they're filling like everyone has information networks in the book. Everyone, even Faile developed one for Perrin. We would see in the book, you know, right? Rand has his people and all that. All the Adras have their people. So I say the whole have their network. The White Cloaks have information gathered people. None of that is in this show.
Well, that would involve
because
deep
they
thinking.
just know, right?
That would involve deep thinking and time to flesh everything out. If they thought the Wheel of Time is going to be as successful as it should be, they would have given them 15 seasons easy. And they said, one book, one season, here's 24 episodes. That's what they should have done if they were going to be like, let's put effort and time into this. Especially if you're going to put $1 billion into the Lord of the Rings wannabe Ring of Prime thing. Like, if you're going to put $1 billion into that, it was like, this is another massive series that should be way more popular than Game of Thrones.
Way more powerful.
But I know, strike me down and cancel me, and I will become more powerful than you can imagine. But no, like Game of Thrones had like a $10 million budget per episode. This show had like 14 or 15 million an episode. But Game of Thrones
looks superior.
Oh, it looks way better, and it's even older. But it should like if you had the quality of Game of Thrones and effort put into Wheel of Time, it would look and come across so much better, which just means that when it's not something that they put together, it's because the people doing it are incompetent.
You can't judge by that, though, because Game of Thrones was put together when shows like Game of Thrones were considered B grade, so they got a lot of discounts on special effects, on costuming, on actors and
Maybe,
stuff like
but
that.
even if that's the case,
if you try to do Game of Thrones right now, like if you just the exact same cast, the exact same sets, the exact same music, right now, it would cost like $100 million or more easily.
An episode?
Probably.
No.
Think of the actors. Sean Bean alone would be like $5 million an episode.
Maybe.
His salary is inflated.
I mean,
massively.
he went from Lord of the Rings to Game of Thrones, so Game of Thrones, he should already have been expensive, but he might have chosen not to just so they could make a better series.
Well, no, he wasn't expensive. He became more expensive as the years passed. Anyway.
Well, I know, but Game of Thrones is way after Lord of the Rings, is my point.
Point I'm getting is all between inflation and the fact that fantasy is not considered the same level of TV as like pro sports and like police procedurals, the highest end TV. You could have everything's going to cost more when you go in. Like when you're a sword maker, for example, and they want to cast 100 swords for some special guard. For Game of Thrones era, that would be like
cute.
for Game of Thrones that would be like $1,000 a sword, right? For back then. Now they're like $50,000 a sword, to do.
Yeah, but you can also pull weaponry from other studio stuff if they have them. Also, Amazon doesn't have the limitations per se that HBO had.
The point I'm getting is you can't judge by Game of Thrones cost per episode because.
But I'm saying even if that was the case, we're not even seeing a percentile of the quality of Game of Thrones. Like not even remotely. So even if this cost $25 million to equal that of Game of Thrones, we're not even seeing a portion of that.
This is a case of not well spent money, but I'm saying.
Well, yeah, they're going on vacations with their gay boyfriends and stuff.
Just don't judge it by Game of Thrones because it's more analogous with the.
Well, but here's the thing: is if it's going to be as successful as Game of Thrones, they're going to be willing to put more money into it because they'll make a whole bunch of more money back. That's the that's the
more
idea.
analogous. Let me see how much it costs.
That's the reason they put $1 billion into Rings of Prime, is because they think they're going to get that back just because they have the IP name. What they don't understand is the IP name comes with shocking IP responsibility, and if you're not responsible with the IP, people are not going to watch your crap because you're disrespecting characters. That's why season 1 dropped in half, season 2 dropped in the half of that half, and then now we're in season 3, which is probably another half of that half. So we're down to what? A third of the original? Maybe a quarter of the original? Like, nobody's watching this because it's not good. And if it was good, you'd have people watching it.
Yeah.
And
the only people watching this are the people who are like race culture people, you know, whatever you want to call it, LGBTQ people who are watching for LGBTQ stuff. That's the only people watching this.
Well, and that's the thing, is if you want that, go watch a porno or something. Like, there's no reason to just flood eroticism into something.
That's the eroticism. I'm saying the people who want to see gay characters like doing stuff like there's good shows like that. Like my aunt's watching this show, which it's a comedy, but it just premiered about kind of like the gay version of the Golden Girls.
I don't care. Glee.
No, it just came out. There's a bunch of gay comedians who are older. They're doing like the gay version of the Golden Girls, you know.
I didn't watch Golden Girls, so I don't know.
The point I'm getting at is there's like non-sexualized programming that the LGBT community can watch. That's good. This isn't even good. They're just watching this because they feel they've been told politically they have to watch this.
I have representation. Well, I have not seen representation in pretty much any series ever in the history of my life, so I guess I'm underrepresented. But
yeah, I mean, who would put Sicilians into stuff, right?
I know, right? It's crazy. I mean, all the good
But
mob
also,
stories we
wait,
could
don't
have.
you have like
Hey now,
Godfather? Isn't that a
Yeah, but
representation?
I want TV series, and plus that's old representation. That was way back in the day. That's not like
Fair enough.
modern. I mean, they had gay people from like William Dafoe was what, a trans, or not a trans. He was a cross-dresser in Boondocks. He was a whole like
It could be. Who knows?
There's been characters around. What's his face? Sean Astin, I think, even plays a gay guy in a show or something. And like, it's just they're there, and they usually serve an actual plot point, which I'm fine with because that's how they like. If it's a character, I don't care who the character is. They have to fulfill the plot point and the role that they're actually supposed to. But the problem is that this is literally eroticism. They're trying to 50 Shades of Greyify the Twilight series. That's literally what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's like, oh shoot, somebody just bought the Twilight IP, this is gonna be crazy, all the fans are going nuts because like, we're gonna get Twilight, and then they come out and they're like, welcome to Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, and then it's just literally 50 Shades of Grey. Of course the Twilight fans would be
where's the
upset.
vampires?
They're the ones bondaged. But it's gonna be like, it's gonna be literally just, I came here for Twilight and I got a 50 Shades of Grey. The same thing for the Harry Potter stuff, since they have officially cast Papa Isidu as Snape, and you're just like, but I came here for the accurate Harry Potter stuff, and you're already telling me that you have no what's the term? You have no interest in doing an actual representation of the series, which is weird because I was for sure J.K. Rowling was 100% in control, creative control.
Yeah, but she's also, pretty much
a
on the
card.
same
Yeah,
team,
I know,
except for the one issue that they
well,
want to kill her for.
I get that, but at the same time, the whole Hermione is black thing didn't go over as well as she might have thought it would.
Of course
So you think she would learn from that and be like, I mean, she doesn't need
Nope.
the money, but I mean, if I have a best-selling series IP, I'm not going to just like let somebody burn my reputation to the ground, even if I have money.
She's a leftist. She just isn't as far left as some of them.
Yeah, so. I don't care if she's a leftist. If a leftist makes something that they like or that they care about, and somebody tries to come in and destroy it, I'd be like, no, you can't destroy my work.
But she doesn't view changing, like okay.
I know, because she's a piss poor writer, which is why I've never actually read the Harry Potter stuff.
That's an ad hominem. That's irrelevant.
Well, if you don't care about your stuff, it's not an ad hominem to say you're a piss poor writer.
It's also not actually that bad.
What is
the story?
But beside the point,
I don't know.
She, in her view, okay, she doesn't view as a leftist that there are Aboriginal peoples to Europe, right? So and so Hermione
Say that literally
is
about anywhere else and just see where that gets you.
Hermione is English, native English, basically, and
Yeah, but like they only know modern day
Well,
England,
but
so
yes,
it's like
but
50% Indian, right?
but you can't have a native English person if there's no natives to England.
no,
That's
okay.
that's the whole thing. Is like
She
if
wrote Hermione as a native English person, of Aboriginal ancestry, but in her leftist view, people who come to England can become English. So that's why you can have black English people.
but you don't become English. You become an English citizen.
Well, you become British.
Well,
So
yeah, but I'm
there's a
saying
whole.
it's a difference between becoming a citizen and becoming a little literal person of the culture.
There's
like
a
the
whole
ethnicity-wise.
debate going on in England and Wales and all that now, where like what people who are actually native English are starting to take back the fact that you can't just go to England to be English. You have to be native, like born, so to speak. You know.
Well, you have a
Good for them.
traditional native
But
line.
I think it's too late for England.
Yeah, England's toast. But
you never know. I mean,
no,
we'll
I
see.
do. I do. They're not. They're too chicken cowards to actually do anything about their own land. So they're obviously not going to do squat. They could have 6 billion of them in England be against 10 people, and they'd still lose because they don't have the freaking balls to do anything. But I'm getting into that, and I don't want to. But anyway, point being, if you create something and you don't respect what you created, you're not good at what you created. You were lucky. And I would not respect you if you're only lucky and don't respect your own stuff. Now, if you were lucky and you wrote something really, really good and you respected it, I would respect you. Because, yeah, you might have caught lightning in a bottle from my writing a series of books or something, or made an awesome movie. But if you go off and just basically just take a big old dump on your own IP, I'm not going to respect you. There's no reason for anyone to respect you because you don't care about your own stuff, let alone other people should have to care about your stuff. And yeah, she's going to cry to herself to the bank with all
Now, I
that
want to
money
point
that
this
she's going
out,
to be
okay?
having. But
Anyway, let's just keep going because we're
Yeah.
sidetracked.
well, here we get the
We
horny
sidetracked a
eel. It's your part, Sage.
Yeah.
The horny eel.
But this is not just the part, right? Because earlier they were being horny over Aram, right?
Yeah, they're horny about every guy they see.
Exactly. So they're permanently horny.
I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of guys get horny when they see Bane and Chiad in the book. So
I guess.
they're
sure.
like, "Oh wow, she's really hot, or she's really pretty, or she's really beautiful," and then they're like, "Just don't do Maiden's Kiss with her." That kind of a thing. And then we end up obviously knowing that if you get Chiad, you get Bane, and if you get Bane, you get Chiad. Like they're first sisters, so if you marry one, you get both. It's a package deal.
Yep.
Like Gaul's like, I don't want Bane, I don't like Bane, I want Chiad, and then they're like, well, if you get Chiad, you're getting Bane. So he ends up with both. Hey, shocking.
Yeah, it's a win-win maybe, or maybe a win-lose.
I mean, if
Who
they're
knows?
like
Maybe it's a
these,
lose
if they're
lose.
like these Bane and Chiad, I'd say it's a lose. Because they're more interested in hurting you and being horny about it than they are
That's fair.
like actually caring about you. Like Chiad literally goes from being Gaul's arch nemesis to being his arch lover. So it's a very strange relationship.
Also, how would these two know that Rand is the Karakan?
They're making an assumption. Is my assumption.
Do they have like phones over there?
Were they there when Moraine did the Dragon Reborn symbol?
And this is where what?
Fair enough.
Were they there when Moraine did the Dragon
Yes,
Reborn?
but the Dragon Reborn is not the Karakarn. The books even say that they don't care about the Dragon Reborn. They only care about the Karakarn.
That's the books. In the show, it's all the same.
Yes, but Avienda doesn't even acknowledge him as the Karakarn after that fact.
Exactly. So why would these two?
Maybe they did. Who knows? I'm not going to go.
Are you expected to find consistency in the TV show? What?
I was hoping at least a little bit.
It's like, I don't care if it's bad. Just be consistent about it. And they're like, no, we can't even be consistent about being bad.
To be fair, if it's bad and consistent, that's...
Also, I'd like to point out these spears for the Aiel
good enough.
look closer to normal spears than the spears that the Two Rivers folk have, which are these little nubs. But now this is when they're like, oh, you're going to come around so we can poke you with our spears because it gets us off. And then...
so
they're literally using they're using the bond to be like, oh, can't you feel the pleasure I get from eating this plum? like, oh,
Mhm.
oh, oh. And it's just
But
like,
also,
but why?
why would they have shit food in the two rivers?
Well, because they're farmers. They clearly don't know how to cook
Oh,
anything.
that's right. They don't have any farms.
They don't
I
have
forgot.
farms. They don't have bakers. They don't have anybody who grows,
They just eat
apples,
tree bark.
oranges, or plums, or rutabagas. I don't freaking know what you.
They just eat tree bark all day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
Okay.
that would be an
It
upgrade to
makes
their
perfect
taste.
sense now why Alana is
But like, what is the
annoyed
point
with
of the scene?
to establish that the two rivers is a random rural shit village with no good
I
food.
mean, they might as well call it Tanchico 2.0 at this point. But like,
Yes, that's actually its
this
second
just
name.
shows us that the bond allows emotions and feeling, which has already been established.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't
No, but
make
they
any
had
sense.
to redo it because they expected most people would have
And
forgotten
then
because it
they're
wasn't really relevant.
kissing, and she's taking off his shirt, and
Oh yeah, this is
she like bites his ear or something, and then now
yeah,
they're
but he
making
says
out.
no, don't, because that's what Maxim did, and yeah.
And then we have Perrin sitting there looking at a
Mhm.
thing, and then the little short stack comes in, and you're no fun when you're waiting to die.
I mean,
Is anybody? What?
that's, I guess.
And they're like, oh, without you it'd be worse. Like the guy that has no like anything, like he has no background or anything. We don't have Tam here to train anybody. We don't have Abel and Tam to help with the village council and keep
Yeah, because
everybody
they
in line.
fucked off.
Well, yeah, because it's like the whole like in the books, the reason he's so successful is because he has a lot of successful people look up to him
Mhm.
and do things for him, which makes his job easier. He can express to these guys and say, "You guys are the leaders of this town. This is what we need to do," and they go out and they say, "Got it," and then they go do it. And it's
right
like
now he only has Faile. The
Ivon.
aren't really doing anything. They're just
the
sort
Aiel are
of
gonna
playing around, right?
shove
So,
off.
and Ivon, right? So
And
I guess Senbue.
they still
he's
have.
also there.
Well, he's on the village council, technically speaking, but he's a crotchety old man. But
Actually, where is the mayor?
he shoved off too.
Also,
But like, here's the thing. She's like, maybe it's because your friend blew the horn stealing my shot at glory. Like, she's one out of tens of thousands of people who took the oath for the hunt for the horn.
Mhm.
Like, she's gonna be the specific one who's gonna find it.
Well, no,
And
of course
somehow-
that's the dream, right?
Well, it's the dream, yes, but she's making it seem like she actually had a shot. Like, if there was 10,000 people going out, she's a 1 in 10,000 chance of
Yeah.
finding it. Of
But
the
all of
10,000
others have
people,
the same chance. So
well, no, but all of them have a 0% chance because if they're all looking in the
Okay,
wrong
that's fair.
place, they're never
That's
gonna
true.
find it. But I'm saying, like, she's like, I was
But
gonna
they
be the
don't know.
one. Like, they all think that. So
Mhm.
she's never been that ludicrous, and she's not jealous of Matt for finding the horn because she found
Yeah,
Perrin.
but she's not really saying real reasons, right? This is more like, oh, it
Well,
could be because this
maybe.
or that, or maybe this.
And then we get the stupid maiden's kiss, and his skin's so thick that they're like, we're making him bleed, but nothing's happening. But then she has like, I'm gonna kiss him first. Like, they look concerned, like unhealthily concerned. I'm like, for one, you would never do this to an Ogier
Mm-hmm. And two,
because they're a tree
if you are
brother,
concerned,
and they are
why would you even play the game?
super. But like, they're super respectful towards Ogier.
Mhm.
Ogier are like legendary status to Aiel. There's no freaking way they would do this with anybody that's an Ogier. But no, they're just doing it. It's like, how many men have died playing Maiden's Kiss?
A bit late to ask.
It's dishonorable to cheat, not yield of her toe. Whatever. She owes him toe because she poked him with the neck with her spear. What? And then we're
No. She owes him toe because he was sending them away so they would survive.
Which they
I
would
think.
just stay with Faile because that's their thing.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make sense. So this also is wrong.
And they're just doing this weird council with all the real
Apparently, they have
rulers.
a random fucking tunnel that they dug under
onto the sea.
I think the writers of this are were thinking of Helm's Deep.
Also, see
And
this
then
pillar?
if you look in the tunnel,
See this pillar?
yeah.
They would not do that. Like they're normal, they're basic people. They're not like artisans. Like to
No,
that,
but this
to
is
that-
an old building, right? So it needs to have fancy stuff in it.
No, it doesn't. It needs to because the Two
You
Rivers
know.
Two Rivers has this thing about things being simple but useful. So
Sure.
going above and beyond that would be kind of like no. Like he has
But I'm
I
talking
don't
about
necessarily
Bram-
agree
the
with that because you can find houses in England, Europe, I should say, that are
that's
hundreds
England
of years
though.
old.
That's England.
That are hundreds of years, Europe in general, that are hundreds of years old, that are poor people's houses, but have some ornate carvings and stuff like that were done over the
Mhm.
centuries.
Sure,
not-
but I'm saying that's them and their culture. That's not the Two Rivers culture. The Two Rivers
Two Rivers
culture
culture is clearly based on like European medieval culture. It's clearly
to
based
some
on it.
extent, sure, but you can still
Specifically
have
English, I
you
would
could
say.
yes,
Yeah.
you can have similar, but if a house is thatched, you're not going to be putting a whole lot of effort into
Well, we
the rest
already
of it.
established that they're not thatched.
Do
in
you
the
know how
show.
much
No,
effort
I'm
it
talking
is to
about in the
set up
books
a
equivalent.
thatched roof.
Huh?
Do you know how much effort it is to set up a thatched roof?
Well,
Plus,
obviously, it's not
by
too
the
much
way,
effort for them not to do it in old medieval times
these are
because that's what they did most of the time.
These are probably rented buildings that were built for something else. So
Sure, but I'm just saying, like this wouldn't be a thing that the Two Rivers would do.
Maybe it's imported.
The villages would break if you're not here. It's like knowing that I'm out
Mhm.
there, do something else for them.
Also, the tunnel, right, is not just dug, but also fully constructed with stone masonry.
Lord Perrin Golden Eyes, don't call me that. Yeah, you'll.
Oh no,
do their
there's some guys.
Where does he get this armor from?
He just it was in the storage in the blacksmith.
They don't have that kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, here's your evidence. There's women at the front line.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Distorted screams, and then all the people are like, "Oh no, oh no! Why aren't they on the mountainside above the pass, just peltering them with arrows?"
Because that's where Alana is.
No, she's behind, way in the back.
Fair enough. Okay, fine.
Like she catapults that damage. And then he's the only one with this armor. And this
Yeah,
song,
also-
I hated this song so.
I
freaking
hate this
much.
song as well. But also none of them should know about Manetheren.
Well, they do because Moraine gave him a 5-second learning thing on it.
Yeah, but they don't have specific songs that everyone knows that's about Manetheren.
Well, they've had a year to make up one,
No, but they don't.
and this is supposed to be impressive. It's more impressive if you don't have
Also,
a choke point.
the Trolloc army, right, is like 70% human.
Dark Friends.
Why?
Well, because
because Trolloc
it's too
Trolloc
expensive.
costumes and CGI too expensive, basically.
I guess that makes sense.
But if you were popular at Game of Thrones. So they're going through, and he goes, "Ah!" He could have literally just gone up to them and started killing them before they could react, and he would have
Yeah,
gotten through them much quicker. Also, they make him seem
that's
like
a
he's
rookie mistake.
unkillable because the Ogier can
He
be
is,
hurt.
right? Yeah.
The Ogier
He's-
can be
he's
hurt.
unkillable.
They're just thicker and more sturdy than everything else.
No, but Loyal has a magic anti-death magic on him.
Oh, it's because he has the magic charm of 2 spear points to the neck that prevent him
Yeah,
from taking damage.
exactly.
He has main characteritis.
And you have Ivone. No, this is Maxim. Never mind. I keep calling him Ivone. This is Maxim.
Is it?
Maxim.
Oh fuck!
I know,
I
right?
have them switched up.
I have him
as
switched
well.
too. But Maxim's
Whoops.
wearing armor. Warders don't wear
yeah.
armor.
Sure.
This looks so stupid. Look at this. He doesn't. He hardly even pulls the arrow back. That wouldn't go 5 feet. And then this is.
Well,
this-
no, it could if it's like.
This
a
is
really
where they
fucking
are. So they're having this whole fight over here.
True, but like they do have some sort of signal setup thingy. happening
Maxim
here, right?
feels and lets her know through the feeling.
And
That's literally how this happened.
yeah,
Which is a
Also-
genius way to do
also-
it, but that's not how it would go.
I don't know if I mentioned this in the episode 8 review of season 1, but linking is something that the Aes Sedai do not teach to anyone who is not a full sister.
Yeah. Well, apparently they do because Amathera knew how to do it in the first season.
Yeah, but that's what I mentioned in the season then as well, right?
Yeah.
She should not know.
She's gonna
Also,
be
I think
I like how she's gonna
is-
be insufferable now. Like she wasn't insufferable before.
yeah.
And yes, we're gonna take our.
And then they just stop, right? Why don't they actually continue with
that.
the assault?
How do they even hit them to begin with? Because she can't even see the area.
No, she has Maxim to pinpoint the location, right?
But that's not how that works. There's no freaking like GPS tracking device on the
Well,
ground.
there is now. There is.
No, because if she was using his location, she'd zap him.
No, but she knows. Oh, he's there, and we need to aim a bit higher. So.
Well, then they come in to the village. Why? I don't know. They were perfectly good up on that hill. And then we get them attacking from another angle.
No, actually, it's only Perrin. Maxim says, "Oh, go back, see what's happening in the village."
Oh my gosh.
Then, of course, they come back to the village, and the Aes Sedai, for some reason, abandons like the big goods sniping spot to go back to the village as well. And she gets sort of straight through the chest.
Yeah,
I
Alana
guess,
gets shot
stabbed
through the
with
chest.
a massive spear.
And then Daisy's like,
That-
I'm going to
be
create this
fair,
shield that I don't know how to make.
That's not really an arrow. That looked like a fucking ballista bolt.
Yeah, it was really thick. Like it looked more like a spear, honestly.
That would instantly kill you.
Probably. Or at least obliterate
Okay,
your
maybe
organs.
not instantly, but like not survive for a minute.
But then you have Daisy Conger, who doesn't know how to make a
Daisy,
shield
yeah.
of air,
Mm-hmm.
makes a shield of air.
That's all.
But then she doesn't even make a
mhm.
shield of air because it literally
It's
takes
a force
physical.
shield.
It takes a physical weapon to poke through it. Not only does it go through it, it literally permanently damages it. Like
Yeah, this is
this is the problem with their weaving is they don't understand how it works in the books because this is the same problem with Logain in the cave. Where what's his name? Stefan? The guy,
yeah.
the guy who doesn't
He stabs through the
he
shield,
attacks
right?
with an
And then-
axe. That's not how that works.
But no, he can attack with an axe.
Yes,
What's
he
not
could
supposed to
have,
work
but it wouldn't be.
is
It
that
wouldn't have
the
correct.
axe is not breaking through the shield.
A shield of spirit cannot be damaged by physical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be composed of something else. Now, if you have a shield of air and you hit it with an axe, it's going to go
Sure.
right off of it. It's not going to
Well,
break through it. It's not going to make
Unless
a permanent
it's a really
hole.
weak air shield.
No. The most standard of air shields is going to be something that's going to be able to block a physical weapon.
Maybe
I
if
don't know
it's,
how it would work with a ballista because they never used like a ballista or a catapult in blocking it with the air shield.
I'm sure you can break it with enough force, right? Surely.
Yes, but this is like basic arrows. This is basic stuff. Like literally what a shield of air or a wall of air is designed to block. It's like,
Sure,
oh,
maybe
something's
she's
attacking.
just
Ting, ting, ting,
not
ting,
good
ting,
at it.
ting. But the thing is it breaks holes and the holes stay big. They don't even fill back up. They just stay broken.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? This entire thing is just stupid and silly.
I'm trying to think of a different
irritates me so much.
media that has the same effect, but I can't really think of any.
Be stubborn. Can you stubborn people be stubborn? Yeah, we'll be stubborn. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
that's
also very stupid speech.
well, yeah. Nice speech.
Oh yeah,
Short and quick.
when Loyal hits someone with a hammer, they sort of slow motion fly away into the air, right?
It's Skyrim. It's Skyrim effects.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo!
It's the-
And he just randomly pulls out this leaf from nowhere.
yeah,
Keep in mind, remember he put it back on the wall when they came through the first time.
yeah. No, that's why I was confused because I thought he didn't put it on the wall, but
No, he did.
I thought he took it out. But who knows? I'm not sure. But then they shouldn't be able to open it anyway, so it's all confusing.
And then they heal Alana, which doesn't make sense because
Mm-hmm.
And then the White Cloaks show up, and then put on Fane.
Oh no, he's a dark friend. How could you? So the issue here is the White Cloaks actually help them, which
Yeah.
is because Dane is awesome, I guess.
And then you got freaking Loyal trying to break the gate, which you can't break it with physical force, but you can break it by dislodging it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Also, you're not supposed to break them. You just take the leaf out, and it becomes impossible to.
Yeah. Just hold on to
Go
that leaf,
through.
and it will die over time. Is the whole point.
And also, the gates aren't actually like a physical thing. They work without the actual structure, because it's just a hole in space.
Well, yeah, but the show can't.
Right. So, for example, in the book, the first one, Moraine actually destroys a gate from the inside the ways with the I guess she used bale fiber. I'm not sure. Maybe something else. She just blasts a hole in the gate, and it becomes essentially a permanent open hole in space, because that's how those work. They don't just stop existing because the structure around it is broken.
Yeah. Like everything is suspended where it is suspended in the ways, and just because something falls, like a piece breaks off or something, doesn't mean the entirety of it falls and breaks off.
Exactly.
How it's held in place, we don't know because it's never talked about.
But you could argue that the whole of the gateway is actually the thing holding it in place, right?
I love this when they're sitting here like, we're covered in blood and we're just gonna sit here. I'm like, you would actually hide and then pick them off and attack them and jump amongst them while they're confused and kill tons of them. That's how you would do it.
They missed the strategy lesson back in school. So
also, they've been killing people for a while without their veils being up. So what's the point of using a veil?
No. They
also,
they
a shufa
veil
veil is supposed to go like this. It's not supposed to go like this. Like you're not supposed to go up like a mask. It's a shufa veil. It's an actual veil that hangs, and then you clip it on, and then that's how you veil yourself.
Yeah, but these guys are thinking like COVID masks, right?
Sure. And then now we
you
have
do them down to a stalker.
We have a single Trolloc managing to go after, without anybody possibly.
Yeah, how did that Trolloc get into the Wine Spring Inn, find the secret tunnel,
and fit in the secret tunnel? He's huge.
Yeah, because if you look, well, maybe that's not visible anywhere near this scene, but when they go in, they have to actually go sideways because the tunnel is that thin.
I failed them.
Oh no.
They were already in the process of being failed, so.
Yep.
It's to be my sexman. Sorry. Well, it's a cultural thing.
Okay.
And she's up here being a boss. But she would always be in the back line because that's where Perrin would want her to be able to fight comfortably. People dying. Look how far back he pulls that. Watch this.
It's too dark.
Well, of course it's too dark.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see. He's gonna kill this guy.
At least, he does. Some
He's like, boop, boop, boop. Like you have to actually pull back to your cheek. Like you fully extend your arm, and you have to pull back to your cheek, and then fire.
It's much more difficult, right? Normally, you just pull it straight in your line, but putting it to your side, you have your arm sort of bend an awkward angle, and it's really difficult to keep the arrow, to keep it pulled back away from your body. So that is probably the reason why it's small, I guess.
Well, he's like,
but it's stupid.
I'm just like, a Cupid would shoot farther than that.
And that's a baby. Wow.
That's my point. And I like your women's circle because it's like, The women's circle is like.
Yeah, the women's circle is apparently a Roman legion, right?
You remember when in the Hobbit movies they have the dwarf show up, Casa Artura! Like they would like line up and do this chant thing and stomp their shields and everything. That's-
You mean the movie?
Yes, the movies, obviously, not the book.
Yeah, sure.
So that's basically what they made the women's circle. It's really stupid. I like your women's circle. Step aside, children.
The women's circle, the final line of defense.
And then they burn him alive, and I'm just sitting here like, yes, finally,
finally.
somebody does something right in the show. Now you just have to kill
But it's
Moraine.
immediately countered by Perrin a bit later.
What do you mean?
He leaves. He has the chance to kill Perrin and Faile,
Oh, yeah.
and then just doesn't.
Which made no sense.
If you look at their horns look glossified.
Yeah.
And Pat and Fane literally caused they were shows up and makes everything go to fucking chaos with his evil white cloaks. And he doesn't kill him.
Rookie mistake, I guess.
I mean, how many people died because Perrin Faine showed up?
a lot.
Well, Fane hasn't married him yet, so he can't kill him with an axe.
Oh, that's true.
But here's
yeah.
the thing. Here's the thing. He's like, I'm going to use you to pull your guys back so we take less losses. I'm like, but if you kill him now, they have no leadership. They will probably flee.
Yep.
Like the whole thing's nonsensical.
Now they can just regroup and come back with reinforcements.
And why would you trust the word of a dark friend? That doesn't make any sense.
Because no, I don't know.
And this is where we lose Loyal.
Yeah, so why is he trying to hit the gate itself?
If you look
right?
at his
If
arms,
you
they
know-
look like they're stuffed with pillows.
I mean, they are, right?
Yeah, I know.
I think the actor was just
But
fat.
first, he tries to just smash the gate itself.
Here,
With a
we'll
hammer,
watch this
but-
quick little scene.
Yeah, that's not how that's supposed to work.
It's like a Lego building. Just falls apart in pieces.
Yeah.
Ah. Victory.
But if
Also-
Also, they would not have just
anything-
explode. That was completely made up.
Mhm. But if anything in the ways would be the anchor point, it would surely be the gates themselves, right?
Yeah, the gates. Everything else should fall, not the gates.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, okay?
But
So
we don't know.
Washington-
We don't know if it's even possible.
Of course,
to
we don't
destroy,
actually know
because the
Mhm.
ways are not destroyed and falling apart because people damage them. They're falling apart
Mhm.
because of corruption.
Yeah.
Like we
Basically,
don't know if you
it's
can
rotting.
destroy things. Like if somebody goes in with the power or with a giant hammer
but
or
we
something.
know that Moraine, she basically evaporates one of the gates, and they can still go through clearly.
I don't remember that, but
That's in book 1
I don't
when
remember
they
her
arrive at China.
evaporating anything.
Well, okay, evaporating is like my word choice, but she basically melts the whole thing down so they can go through because they don't have a key. There is no leaf on the inside to open the gate.
I vaguely remember
When
what
they
you're
arrive
talking
at
about, but
China.
I'd have to reread
And then,
it.
so they're at the gate. There's no key to open it, and the black wind is behind them, so they're fucked, right?
That's
so-
a one nasty fuck, man.
Mhm. And Moraine, at that point, decides, well, fuck it, we'll just blast our way through, destroying the gate in the process, leaving it open,
Permanently
And
open,
so
you mean?
permanently open. Yes.
But it doesn't destroy the gate. It destroys the cover of the gate.
Yeah, but there is not really a structure on the inside.
I don't remember the description of the structure from the inside, but I'd have to reread that. But I'll take your word for it. So, Perrin Faine's now not so sure, and he calls him off. Optimistic music playing. There's something optimistic about this show.
Yeah.
And see, the population right here cannot fit in the houses that are in this town.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible.
But to be fair, half of them are white cloaks, so
No. Like maybe a tenth of them are white cloaks. There were not very many good white cloaks in that group. And then we're getting to this whole point. Everyone's all smiles.
Yeah, everyone happy. Wow.
Okay, so
And they're just fixing
back to-
everything.
So okay, wait, stop. So
Alana is perfectly healed from the, being
Masha and
basically.
Shin, back to the ways and
Oh, yeah.
to the ways.
Sure.
Okay. So Masha and Shin, I was reading up on this to see if I was missing something because I don't remember. So, like, it turns out, I mean, I had to plumb like the Robin Jordan question thing for the deep depth of this, but most of what we think we know about Masha and Shin in the book either comes from Varen, who's an unreliable source,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
or from like
I would argue
people
she's a
who-
very reliable source, but
no, but the people she was telling it to were not dark friends. She's telling it to like good guys, so to speak.
I know.
So she'd be so that will make her unreliable in that sense.
I
Like
wouldn't change my opinion, but yes.
so we never see Varen talking to like other dark friends about Masha and Shin. We only see her talking to good guys, so to speak. So she wouldn't. We can't accept that she would give them valid information, right? And
I mean, you could.
So nothing short of.
Yeah, but why is that important?
I'm getting there, right? So Masha and Shin
Why is what you're saying
formed due to the corruption on Sidin, basically.
Yeah.
It became a semi-sapient entity.
Well, we don't know exactly why it exists.
Well, it's mentioned several people.
We know that Sidene being used to create the waygates and the ways
could have influenced
has
stuff.
had corrupted it, but we don't know if Sidene is inside and is floating around as a Machin Shin. We just know that it was something.
No,
some
I'm
form
not
of
saying
No,
that.
we
What I'm saying
don't
is-
actually know it's actually Sidin that's corrupting the thing. It's just
No,
assumed that
it's-
that's the
okay.
case because no one
So-
really has any idea.
There,
what the
there
fuck's
was
going
no
on.
other corruption source that could touch it.
So
No, but there's a
Lorraine, like I
waygate
said,
in Shadar Logoth, so it could have.
But that would have
entered
been
from there.
Mashadar, not much.
Yeah, but like maybe some
So
bit
from-
mutated.
Yeah, but
Okay,
this
so
happened. This
fucking
happened at the
machine
beginning
thing.
of the breaking before anything.
No.
Yeah, Machin Shin's been around since the ways. The ways
Machin
were made right after the
Shin-
breaking.
Okay,
The
so
ways were made right after the breaking, right?
Mhm.
But Machin Shin didn't show up until way late during the Trolloc Wars.
so let me read
Oh,
something.
that's
here.
Mashadar.
So this is from
No,
Robert
Machin Shin
Jordan's.
as well.
This is from Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time and from The Wheel of Time Companion. So not in the novel itself, but in a objective narrative
He's
source.
explaining it. Yeah.
So even Ogier did not know what it is, right? But possibly since the waves were born of tainted power, the black goo was also born up from the corruption. Some say it may be a parasite, natural to the waves but corrupted. So others believe it's a remnant of the war of the shadow hidden in the waves. It can only be on the path out. So what I'm getting at is
I don't
this,
think
right?
it's a parasite.
What I'm getting at is this, right? The only people who possibly control this thing is the creator in the Dark World. Because everything we know, it's beyond anyone else's capabilities.
Actually,
You know-
if you think about it, though, what are the chances it's a male channeler that went in there, went insane, and kind of transformed into Machin Shin?
But
Sure, that could
That's
be the case.
speculation.
Well,
Wait,
all this is speculation because even Robert Jordan's like, it's a parasite. I'm like, there's no
You're not
parasite
letting
that
me
can
get
create
to the
this.
point I'm trying to make.
Anyway,
You
in
keep sidetracking me from the point I'm
the
trying to make.
in the Eye of the World, there is a short bit of text that says this, right? About 1,000 years ago, during what you humans call the War of the 100 Years, the ways began to change. So slowly in the beginning that none really noticed. They grew dank and dim. Then darkness fell along the bridges. Some who went in were never seen again. Travelers spoke of being watched from the dark. The numbers who vanished grew, and some who came out had gone mad, raving about Machin Shin, the Black Winds, right? The War of 100 Years, that's 1,000 years ago, but the breaking was 3,000 years ago. The ways were created after the breaking as a gift from the male Aes Sedai who were allowed to seek refuge in the steading, and the Ogier have been using it for 2,000 years after that to travel to different steadings.
But that, like I said,
So Machin
that's-
Shin was not there in the beginning.
regardless,
Well, it wasn't like they
Or
created
at
the ways
least
and it was.
it
in
was
but-
maybe in a super sort of infantile state and slowly grew.
or it might
into
not
what
have.
it
It might
was.
have gone crazy. What the point of you keep? I'm getting me
But
sidetracked.
we
from the
don't
point I'm
know
trying to
what
make.
it is exactly. We
Well,
don't know
Sage,
the
Sage,
origin.
let him
Let me
his
finish
point.
my point because we want to get to this. I know you have to leave in like half an hour or an hour.
Yeah.
So, So this is a vastly powerful entity that no one's sure the creator, the Dark One, maybe ran with the Choden Kal or Kalendor could possibly do anything about, right? Okay,
hmm
so even if you're trying to see like Pat and Fane communicate with it, it's because he's as crazy as it and it's kind of a simpatico thing going on, you know,
Yeah.
right? So here you have this massive army marching towards a waygate from another waygate, right? And you have
hmm
Perrin, not Perrin, Loyal pounding on the thing trying to destroy it, right? And Machin Shin supposedly can travel anywhere in there within minutes, right? Why doesn't it attack that army long before?
Does
You
it?
know,
I thought it was just attracted to use of the one power.
No, Machin Shin's attracted to a lot of things. There's a lot of
yeah,
different things, and there's no way to tell why or how. Because, like, for example,
Fair enough.
Machin
It
Shin was
also
waiting.
follows Rand. Yeah,
Machin Shin
that's
was
true.
waiting in Kyrian for them at the gate. They didn't
Yeah.
step inside. They didn't use the
No,
power.
that's
They didn't
true.
do
Yeah,
anything. So
it somehow knows where Rand is.
it's
and
not
that,
necessarily intelligent, but it's drawn to things for a
Mhm.
variety of reasons.
Sure.
Moving an army through the ways is going to draw attention if it's a loud enough army.
yeah. And
That's fair.
and screaming Trollocs with other things would be loud enough. And the point I'm making, that's why I said that only a really powerful entity can control it, because it clearly is guided for some reason to that Waygate in Karain, and it's got to be some sort of powerful influence that did that.
And there's
So
that people have implied in the books specifically. They have implied that somebody controlled, like Paran Fain controlled Machin Shin to put him there or something. And they're like, but how could he control Machin Shin? Nobody can control Machin Shin is the idea. Now the question is that if Paran Fain has a tie to Mashadar at this point, he might be able to control Machin Shin. We don't know.
Yeah.
This is never talked about or encapsulated upon. We don't know. But if you control Mashadar, if Mashadar went against Machin Shin, which one's gonna win? We don't know. They're both do basically the same thing. They suck your soul out. So I don't know which one's gonna do what.
Good
So
point.
if you do that, if Machin Shin and Mashadar are roughly the same thing, or a similar type of evil, if Padan Fain has the ability to go in there and tells Machin Shin to go to this waygate, maybe it would. Maybe that's a possible, plausible, reasonable expectation to think. But we have no idea of knowing. But it's a thought process. But I think it's rejected. But it's also rejected from a viewpoint that's not necessarily reliable because they don't know. The characters themselves don't know. They just say there's no way that could happen. They'd have no way to know that. It's the unreliable narrator in that regard. I would trust Varen's sources a lot more than I would trust theirs in that regard.
Yeah, but ultimately we simply do not know.
Yeah.
but again, I'm not talking about the origin. I'm talking about what's going on with
Oh
Perrin,
yeah,
Loyal,
sure.
and
It
Waygate.
would go after the Trollocs.
Yeah.
Surely.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it would descend upon them as quickly as possible. Like you'd hear the, and they're like, "Oh,
No,
the
to be
Black
fair, we
Wind!"
know that Padan Fain has a way to go through without being hurt. So if he's in league with the Trollocs, maybe he could have guided them safely.
Well, that's the other thing is that if Padan Fain's the one doing the Trollocs, then what's Lord Luke doing? Because Lord Luke wants to kill Padan Fain in the books.
I think everyone wants to kill Padan.
They're not friends,
Well,
right?
no.
They're just
Lord
sort of...
Lord Luke was specifically sent out to kill Ordeath, who is Padan Fain.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to kill him for a while, and that's why he's in the Two Rivers. Everybody else in the Two Rivers is technically in addition to. And then Lord Luke takes it personally after he gets shot in his dreams by Perrin, and then that's when it kind of turns and hammers down onto the whole of the Two Rivers, because he's originally looking for the White Cloak Ordeath, knowing who he is, and in the side process, he's hitting a couple farms here or there to kind of like oust people, like draw attention, but he can't find Ordeath, and thus he's kind of just, getting really annoyed by things, and Lord Luke's kind of leading them on back and forth and whatnot. But Lord Luke is there to specifically kill Fain. Sorry. Padan Fain.
I didn't know we were doing Naruto now.
Well, Padan Fain, if you merge them together, it's Pain.
Yeah, I get.
But Lord Luke had a role. And this, he doesn't do anything. He literally just prances around. Like,
yeah, we
don't have the dream world.
Lackey, I guess.
Like, Perrin doesn't enter the wolf dream. Ever.
What's the wolf dream?
Exactly. It's never there. And then it's like, okay, if he's not there, he can't see Slayer. And we don't get that entire there's an
Okay.
entire line of stuff that we don't
Okay,
know,
okay.
which would give us information on
Okay.
Trollocs and whatnot.
Oh, we
I
have
went to
an
the
update.
Robert Jordan like question Theoryland thingy, and question for Jordan himself. Okay, is Mashin Shin a result of the Dark Taint and Sidin being used in the creation of the waves, or a result of some portion of the corruption of Shadow Logos creeping into the waves via waygate there, or something completely orthogonal to both the powers, really being a parasite, blah blah blah. Okay, and then Gordon goes, Mashin Shin is a function of the Dark Taint on the male side of the force or source. He's going to make a joke there. So yeah, Mashin Shin has something to do with the Dark One's taint or Sidin.
So the taint eventually I don't know if the ways being created with the one power means that the one power is constantly pouring into it.
No, it's not constantly used.
And it is not connected to Shadow Logos. You go to corruption on Shadow Logos, the result of evil specifically designed to combat the Dark One's taint. That's why Rand experiences
if something is controlled by the taint, does that mean it answers to the Dark One? Because if it answers to the Dark One, put on Fane, who's still half and half. He's half Dark Friend, covered by the taint of the Dark One's power, so to speak, not necessarily the magic aspect.
Okay, wait.
The other half is Masha.
There's more. Someone had a question about Masha Shin in the ways. Because these was road creatures that pass through there, blah blah blah. Okay, couldn't you regard it as a servant of the Dark One, or perhaps almost a Forsaken? Robert Jordan. It is not a servant of the Dark One. It will kill trolls or anything else. You can say it's a parasite that grew in the waves because the taint under one power was used to initially create the waves. The talisman of growing was used to extend the waves, so it's not a servant of the Dark One, but it's definitely on the evil side. And then he goes, would it be cleansed? Would it be cleansed with the cleansing of Sidin? He goes, no, it's like a bacteria breed. Just by cleansing out the chemicals that cause the bacteria to come in, let's just on that. Those chemicals, you're not going to destroy the bacteria. You should be cut up and help create it. So it's an evil thing that kind of serves the Dark One, but it is not directly serving the Dark One.
So can it be I don't know, particle cannoned into non-existence by the one power?
Well, I'm scrolling through here, so
because I do think that's specifically.
If you had, no, I'm saying what would happen, for example, if Nynaeve and Rand they quote unquote cure Sidine of the taint, they purge the Sidine of the taint, and then they're like, let's go into a waygate, and then they go into the waygate, and just both of the freaking Shodan calls and just wipe out.
No, they just have to use the Mashidar to cancel out the Machin Shin.
You got to get Mashidar though.
Yeah, but they already destroyed Mashidar, so they need to make a new one.
Mashidar can't leave the city, and there's no waygate in the city. It's outside the city, so you wouldn't be able to get them to each other to begin with.
Is it not in the city?
No, all the waygates are outside of the city unless they were built around it, like what Kyrian was.
Here's something interesting.
Camelin had it built into the basement of some.
Here's something interesting, by the way.
Okay.
So this is for Brandon Sanderson after the completion of the novel series, right?
Okay, but that's less.
Well, it just gives you insight as to what would have happened.
He might know something.
Remember, Jordan had a bunch of things you wanted to write after the Wheel of Time happened in the world.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. So, what about the things you left out when you finished? What was the one thing you wish you would have gotten to in there most? This is Sanderson. Most that I wish could have gotten to the Wheel of Time. My favorite sequence I cut with writing was the sequence where Perrin travels in the ways and defeats Mashin Shin with the Ogier. It's a beautiful sequence. It came out really well. The problem is reading a book, you don't miss it because it was a big deviation. I'm not sure if I wish that one would have made it to the book. I tried to get Rand engaged in that one, I think, as a whole. Blah, blah, blah. Point is that we would have gotten more about Mashin Shin had Jordan lived and continued to write.
Yeah, but how would the Ogier go in and beat Mashin Shin?
How would Perrin go in there and beat Mashin Shin?
Well, the Mashin Shin is linked to the one power, right? So,
yeah. Well, it's a creation of the taint.
No Perrin.
So, well, we have the link to the one power, basically.
Well, is this prior to Mjolnir being made, or whatever it's called, the hammer that he makes? Because that's a one power based hammer, so that hypothetically could touch it.
The one way the Ogier can cleanse,
like a wind, you can't physically.
The way the Ogier can cleanse the way, since the taint is gone, therefore no more Mashin Shin. Like it can't grow anymore.
Maybe it doesn't replenish. Yeah, its healing ability got
they
shut
can go
down.
in and spread the steading inside the ways.
Yeah, but
it's like when you stake a vampire, right? It no longer regenerates.
Well, I don't, so I don't know how that works. But no, like
you don't stake vampires where you are.
No, I don't have any
vampires
to
European
stake, unfortunately.
Thing, right?
We do it here in Jersey too. I got like 10 vampires.
Oh, you have vampires there as well.
Well, they're vampires. They're everywhere. But no, like
I guess some fled from
if you
Pennsylvania.
cure Sidene, right? If you cleanse, I should say, is the proper term, cleanse Sidene. It's not necessarily the case that Machin Shin requires a constant source of taint to be able to operate.
Well,
Yeah,
no. That's not what Jordan said. What Jordan said was the Machin is like a bacteria that grows in an environment. If you
Yeah, but it's already grown. It's not in the process of. It's not like it needs to necessarily get bigger.
well,
But if the
but it
environment
can.
changes,
The environment, as long as corrupted Sidene is there and it's consuming people and their memories, it's going to keep growing, consuming food. Well, now it can't grow anymore because the petri dish has been purged. You know, it's what it is. So conceivably, the Ogier and Perrin could go in there and spread the steading throughout the entire inner part of the ways. And since it's linked to the one
you can do
power,
that.
Machin Shin can't function there. And goodbye.
Can you just like put a steading somewhere?
Well, the Ogier made them outside. Made them when they came to the.
Well,
I guess.
counterpoint, could it put on Fane go in there and devour that Machin Shin bacteria with Mashadar and then utilize it to evolve Mashadar?
No, because Mashadar is an evil made to fight the
taint.
Dark One.
Yes.
No, it's not made to fight the taint.
And
The
wait a
taint's
moment.
explicitly for only channelers. It's still evil, yes, but it's not the Dark One evil. It's already stated that it's not a servant of the Dark One. It's its own evil.
But it's made of taints.
Well, no. It's made of the result of the taint.
Yeah.
It's not like the taint's
I'm
directly, because if the taint was directly connected to it, when you
Okay. According to
cleanse-
Robert Jordan, the corruption on Shadow Logoth, Mashadar, is a result of an evil specifically designed to combat the Dark One's taint.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you devour that other thing, like it specifically counters it, which that could be one reason that Vane could get through the ways without being molested.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's because Mashadar is going to keep him safe, essentially. But my thing is that if Mashadar consumes Machin Shin, it can evolve even greater with more knowledge of the Dark One and his way, like his magic of evilness and whatever. And then he could use that as even more so of a weapon against the Dark One. It's basically taking a tool from the enemy and utilizing it on your own. And like if for example in World War II, if the Allies go in, raid a science base,
works, though, right?
take the weapon that the Germans are making,
consume it. It's like an antimatter reaction.
Well, that's the thing is we don't know because every aspect
No, we
of
do know.
No, we don't know. We don't know all the details of how Machin Shin was comprised.
No, but we know how Sidon was cleansed, right?
Yes,
It's
but they're not
Mashida
the
annihilating against taint, and if Machin Shin is a production of the taint.
Yes, but Mashadar wasn't completely killed because it shows up later on.
That's true, but that's maybe a Sando thing. I don't know.
Well, that's just how it was. Well, no, because some of it was technically always with Badon Fane.
I guess.
So if
But
Badon Fane has it, then Mashadar is because Mashadar was.
But
contained to
Mashadar and Taint annihilate. So why would Mashadar and Machin Shin also annihilate?
Well, I don't know, but that's the thing is if it does annihilate it, the antibodies could hypothetically get stronger. So the annihilation could technically make Mashadar even stronger.
I'm pretty sure the Ogier are not going to use Mashadar to cleanse.
Well, I'm not saying the Ogier would. I'm saying there are other things that could technically be used to do that.
But the point of what we're talking about was after the fact that Perrin and the Ogier are going to go in there and cleanse it. So conceivably, the only logical way they can do that is by putting steadings inside the ways.
Right, but steadings counter the one power, right?
Yes, settings.
Well, they kind of neutralize.
And the ways are made of the one power.
Technically speaking, they prevent a direct connection, but you can still use like Cad Swain has her little nets.
Oh yeah,
wells.
true. That's
you can use wells. Same thing as in what's that one stupid town that's ruled by the council? South of Kyrian.
That's Farmadding.
Well, yeah,
Farmadding has a setting like ability because of a
steadings. If steadings like neutralize the one power, they'll be like Balefire.
What?
The one power turns the wheel of time.
Okay.
But
like the reason the
steadings
neutralize
like completely cancel out the one
they
power.
Can't open inside one.
No, that wouldn't. The source of the one power turns the wheel of time. It doesn't affect things on the ground.
Okay, if you put a steading, if the one power is turning the wheel of time, and a steading would neutralize it, wherever you put a steading, the wheel of time would basically stop.
Yeah, that's why the Ogier lives so long.
But that could be one. Well, I don't know. I think
Well,
they were living that
it
long
looks
before
like-
the
No, I
settings
just
were
made that
planted.
up, right?
I know. It's
now,
like I don't
so
think that's accurate.
It looks like almost they're aliens. They're
That
basically
maybe
not from that
maybe
planet.
greetings, Earthling. But no, like I think I think that's a miscategorization where the pattern is everything, and the one power as a source operates the pattern and the wheel and stuff. But there are pockets in which it still operates the world. It's just it doesn't have the minutia effect that in a way a channeler would utilize it. Otherwise, people in Farmatting would be living a lot longer because they're not being moved along by the power, and that does make sense because it
That
doesn't
does
happen
make
that way.
sense.
So I would say there are pockets. Again, they're just pockets. They're not like they're not hitting the source and stopping the source. They're stopping the source connecting. It's kind of like a cell phone. If you have a cell phone, but you go to a
But your
place that's
Wi-Fi is broken.
no, not your Wi-Fi. If you have a cell phone, but your mobile data is cut off because you go into like an underground bunker
You
or
have a
something.
Wi-Fi connection.
Okay, Sage.
You have to have Wi-Fi there for it to work. But
Sage, I think you will get the reference I'm about to give, but I don't know.
Okay, sure.
I'm concerned.
Let's hear it.
Well, because you're a physics student. So if the one power is like a source of voltage, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Steadings are like a very strong insulator.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I get the reference, and I'm not a physics student.
So
I mean, this is a very simple.
It's so simple, even I get it.
well, no, the point is so if the Ogier make
But see, the
steadings
issue is,
and line the ways with them, okay, right? Then Mashin Shin can't get to the ways. Therefore, it can't consume anything. Therefore, it will die.
but wouldn't it stop the gates from opening?
We don't know how they operate, so that's
Well,
the
but we
question.
know they can't be.
Well,
The ways of
they're on
creating
the
with
they're
one
on the
power.
outside of the steading because they wouldn't be able to be created inside the steading.
And also, the waves are created with the one power. Doesn't say they run on the one power.
Yeah,
That's fair.
they don't operate on a consistent source of it. I think we've established that. But my thing is that what I'm saying, like a cell phone, if you have a cell phone, you go down into a deep bunker that's got concrete and everything between it, and you lose that signal, that's what a steading does. It doesn't mean that it's perpetually stopping it everywhere else, and it doesn't mean that the location you're at is going to not be
pose a slight problem in that analogy, right? If the signal is strong enough, it can penetrate, and the same with the voltage, right? If you have a high enough voltage,
I don't know if you
doesn't
can
really
go
work.
into like a deep bomb bunker or something that's like hundreds of feet below ground and hit it with a signal. I don't know if that's possible.
No, you need a very strong signal, but not one we can produce.
You would have okay, one that we cannot produce. I don't think the one power was designed by the creator to produce that effect because it's not necessary.
I don't know. I didn't check.
Well, I know, but I'm
not-
saying if the creator was concerned with people countering the one power, he would create an ability or a way or allow a Terangriel to be made to counter that. And again,
Actually,
the wells do that.
that's
The
a good
wells
point.
allow you to break through that.
Would you be able to use the one power there if you channel it through the Chodan Kal?
Maybe.
Because it's like super
No.
voltage.
Think about it though. The wells, the one power is actively in the belt or the hairnet. It's actively in there, so that's why it can be used in a place that you can't reach your.
Yeah, no, I get that.
You don't need a connection to it.
But if the setting is an insulator, would you be able to overpower it with absolute power?
I'm pretty sure that if you had the Chodan,
would you destroy the setting in the process though?
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure if you had the Chodan Kal active and walked into a steady, the steady ain't gonna stop you.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
here's
the thing is that the Shodan,
we don't know really if
the Shodan Kal would it allow you to do things outside of the steading but not in the steading?
I'm pretty sure the Chodan Kal would allow you to turn that steady into a pancake if you wanted to from the inside.
I mean, you could do that from the outside easily enough.
Rand was going to blow the whole planet up or more, and the planet had steady.
or more. What more is there than the planet being blown up?
Maybe the moon, right? That counts as more.
Well, if you destroy the Earth, it's going to destroy the moon.
The steadings would have been left floating in space like the Ram blew everything up, you know?
Yeah.
The moon can survive.
Why? It's in orbit because of the freaking Earth.
The Ogier would have
just sailed into the Earth in just random direction.
No.
The Ogier would have been happy in
the
their little settings, and then Ram blows everything up and they're floating in space.
Take the place of the Earth orbit. It would be just the moon floating around the sun.
I don't think it has the size and gravitas.
It doesn't need size.
Even if you
Well, it was rotating
only-
around because of the size comparison and gravity.
No,
and
but that's
such.
because the Earth is there, right?
Yes,
The Earth is attracting the moon.
but wouldn't another planet
If the
like
Earth
Mars
wasn't
attract the
there,
moon?
Then the sun would be the dominant gravitational attractor.
Well, I think the
So
sun between the sun and the Earth, I think the sun's going to be a dominant force
No, so
regardless.
No.
The
The
dominant
Earth
gravitational
is
force on our
more
moon
dominant
is the sun.
because it's closer.
The Earth and the moon.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying
Earth-
overall, I think
because-
Mars would catch the moon before the sun does.
No.
wouldn't
Mars is
even
too far
touch
away.
it. You know,
The sun's too far away. That's my point.
No,
The
it's not.
sun is also 99% of all the mass in the solar system.
Yeah.
I know.
The Earth and its moon have a different relationship than any of the moons and the other planets, because our mass and the moon's mass is so close.
What would happen?
No.
Jupiter would get it.
Because our mass, the mass of the Earth and the mass of the moon are so close relative to, say, Triton and Saturn or whatever, or any other moon and any other planet.
Well, that's actually wrong, but close enough.
Well, no. Point
They're
is,
very
any other
different in
moon
size.
and any other planet, the mass difference is phenomenally large.
That's
okay?
no moon.
Sure.
That's your
But,
mom.
like, the mass
The
difference
Earth
between
and the
Earth and the
moon
moon
is
is
much
also
closer than that, and because of that,
very big.
it's more accurate to consider the Earth and the moon a binary planet system.
I
they-
can't
they
believe you
orbit-
guys
No.
actually believe in the moon. I'm just disappointed.
You cannot consider it a binary planet system because the thing it would have to have is that the epicenter of the Earth Moon rotation is outside of the Earth, which it is not. So that's
But it's
not a
not. It
binary
is not in
system.
the center of the Earth either.
No, but neither is the whole solar system epicenter in the center of the sun.
Okay. Point I'm
It
getting
needs
at
to be
is,
outside of the central body to count as a binary.
I get what you're saying and don't disagree with that. I said more accurate to consider it like a binary planet than like the relationship of, say, Triton is Neptune, Titan is Saturn, right? So I can backwards.
I always confuse those two.
Europa is Saturn. We'll go that way. Okay. So
Sure.
the orbital center
I
point
think
of
Titan
Europa.
is Jupiter, but I'm not 100%.
I was gonna say
Okay.
Saturn has rings. I thought Jupiter had moons.
The orbital
No, Saturn also has moons.
Well, I meant like the one they're known for. Like
Yeah, so-
Jupiter has all the moons and Saturn has all the rings. Is what they're
the
known for.
point at
Saturn
which
has more
Europa,
moons than Jupiter.
That's what.
the point at which Europa, the point of center of mass
That's the
for Europa and Saturn is almost exactly in the center of the Saturn. It's very close. Whereas
Sure. But
with
those
the Earth
things
and
are
the moon-
absolutely fucking massive.
with the Earth and the Moon, it's much closer to the surface of the Earth than it is to the center of the Earth.
I'm not 100%, but I think it's actually close to the center than the surface.
I don't know, but I feel like we're way off topic.
Yeah, we are way off topic. Sure.
Well, you were the
like,
one who brought up the moon drifting
If
off. and we're
the
just
if the
sciencing
Earth
it.
is destroyed, right? If it just vanishes from existence, the moon would simply orbit the sun instead
Well, would
of
it
the
fall
Earth.
close? Would it have a closer orbit because it's less massive?
No.
Because the planetary orbitals are pretty established based on their momentum.
No, they're not based on mass. They're just based on the velocity.
Well, I thought momentum, but yeah. Well, the
Well,
initial
thank
spin out.
goodness Rand didn't use the Shodan Cal to blow up the planet, so I don't have to do this math.
So see, the mass of the orbiting object doesn't actually matter to the velocity of the orbit and the distance, right?
So
Well, most of the planetary momentum comes from when they spun out of that dust cloud. So
Oh yeah, sure. But that's
remember, you're the one who brought this up. We're just sciencing it. So you know.
sciencing it is a way to say that. Yeah, I'm trying to go back to find my notes.
but as Matt Damon said in The Martian, I'm going to science the shit out of this.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
So we missed it early on, but early in the episode, Loyal grabs a sword.
why.
So okay, so now here we have
He
the-
doesn't
He has
use
a
swords.
fucking hammer.
Are these the
Well,
Clothan
he uses an
sisters?
axe. He uses a
Are the-
long-handled axe. That's literally his trademark
book,
weapon.
yeah, sure,
Yes.
but-
So why would he grab a
Are
sword?
these-
Why would he grab a hammer? He'd grab an axe.
Well, Perrin needs the axe to kill more wives. So
Yeah, but he also has the hammer.
Yes, but
so-
there's more than one axe, Matt.
um,
And also the
Perrin,
the
well,
axe.
Perrin,
has-
Perrin
axe
had a
that
lot
Loyal-
of women to kill for his wife for blood for his
Loyal's
forge.
axe would be too big for Perrin to hold.
So are these the Clothan sisters?
Yeah,
The coffins. Yeah.
I think Mama
They
Cawthon
apparently healed Alana from being dead.
Again.
I also think
Again.
Mama Cawthon was stepping out on Daddy Cawthon because they look nothing like Matt, like skin color and all that.
Well, that's because diversity is our strength,
yeah,
Matt.
Exactly.
We don't do homogeny in this world because that's racist.
Homogeny?
Yeah, like everybody being the same.
Isn't that called homogeneity?
I've always homogenous, not homogeneous or whatever you call that.
Homogeneous.
It's homogeny in America. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, but it's not homogeny, surely.
That's how we say it. I don't know if that's
Is it?
accurate or not. That's just how I've always heard
I'm
it.
going to look it up.
Well, you can, but you're going to pronounce it wrong anyway. So... Bloody Europeans. Oh, yeah. I also made a note that the Aiel are all whores, but we already covered that. A lot of unnecessary scenes. Yep, sounds about right. Things that don't matter and have no purpose, but we don't have time to cover the storyline, guys. The plot's not
Homogeny
available.
is a genus of flowering plants in the daisy family.
Oh, to put a
guess.
final fact on something Sage and I were saying,
Yeah.
the Earth has a radius of
6
about
million
600
meters.
kilometers. About 6,300 kilometers, give or take.
6.7, right?
Yeah. The Barry Center, which is the point where the Earth and Moon orbit, is 5,000 kilometers from the center of the Earth.
Okay, so homogeneous, having the same genetic structure, exhibiting
Okay,
homogeny. It just means that people are the same. That's homo means same, hetero means different. I mean, that's basic Latin.
Sure.
So basically saying that they have the same genetic structure because they're all people from the same place. Like all of Tyr is homogenous. Everybody in Ilion is homogenous. Everyone in Kyrian is literally homogenous because they're all the freaking short height.
Yeah.
Andor, homogenous. All the individual nations are homogenous. But we can't have
Obviously.
that because diversity is our strength. So if diversity is our strength, well, how are you going to be able to have, kids look like their parents? That's a ridiculous concept.
Yeah, no, of course that's we don't do that.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
just cast random actors, right?
I feel like that would be an upgrade, but but anyway, it's like
Sure.
if you have like
At least they look vaguely similar.
well, they're twins, literal real twins.
Yeah, okay. So
They're literally actresses that are
fine
literally related. They are literally the definition of homogenous. The same genetic structure. But my point is that all of the two
the left one
rivers
looks a bit different though.
well, they're gonna have different facial structure, but they're the same genetic compromise.
But that's not how that works though.
That's
right?
literally how that works. All the people in your Netherlands does not mean that you're inherently all the same exact look.
If you have an identical twin,
They're
they
not
would
identical twins per se. They're similar, but they're not identical. Identical means
Okay,
there's no
fair enough.
difference. They're just twins.
Sure. Okay, so these are not identical.
I never said they were. I said
Obviously.
they were twins.
Okay, yeah, sure. I thought you said.
You are
may
hearing
have
things
imagined
what
that.
you want to hear, apparently, good sir. But no, my point is that if you have somebody down the street from you that looks moderately like you, and you're from the same culture, the same ethnicity, you're all the same, we'd call that homogenous. Japan is homogenous. Korea is homogenous.
Actually, we would call that an ethno-state.
That's a political term, not a genetic term. I'm using
Fair
a genetic term. So if all of Japan, like all the Japanese, look Japanese. If all of the Spanish look
they're
Spanish.
changing that though because I think I heard they're reporting a lot of random
YouTube
Somali
streamers.
or something.
Mutations in Japan, yeah.
But no, like if you have a lot of those things, like that's what made Robert Jordan's world so big and diverse naturally, is that there were all these places you could go to
And also
experience all these
realistic.
cultures. That's what I said, realistic.
You said big and
Diverse, naturally.
something else. Diverse,
I said
naturally. Yeah.
naturally, which is realistic.
Okay, fair.
But
That's
it's like
exactly
you wouldn't have to create this false thing about Terabon where like they're all just like they take little girls and somehow are Muslim or something like that, and just
Are they?
Well, no, that's just an Islam thing where they can marry 9-year-olds and whatever.
Oh yeah, sure,
Yeah,
fair
that
enough.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So like they're so like, oh, women are owned by men in Tanchico, which doesn't make sense because half the women are just out there doing their own thing as a strong, empowered women, shaking their boobs and
Yeah.
everything. That would not happen and if that was the actual way that the town was. But they wouldn't have to make up this horrible thing about the Tanchicans, aka Taraboners, and
Yeah.
they wouldn't have to make
I mean-
that horrible lie about them for story plot line because they already have their own unique culture. They wouldn't have to change the black sea folk to freaking Arabians.
Yeah,
Which doesn't make sense. Like there are so many things, like they're changing all the stuff that they
They
don't
had the
need to change.
perfect culture to do representation, and they just fucked it up.
And the Shanshan showing up are supposed to be diverse because it's Shandar basically took over every other place in that continent
Mhm.
to basically
And
unify
yet
the equivalent of
they
Randland.
seem sort of homogeneous in the show.
Well, they're the bad guys. They have to be more white than not.
That's true.
Did they introduce
forgot
Tuan
that.
yet in this shit show?
They have not introduced Tuon, no. At the rate they're moving, how slow they're moving, they're not going to have enough episodes left to do that.
Yeah.
But the point being is that they had the perfect diverse world that had differences and unique things about stuff. But for whatever reason, they're like, we're going to take that, throw it out the window and make everywhere diverse so that nowhere is diverse. And it's stupid.
Yep.
But I like
Well,
this scene
because they don't want, see, that's the thing. They don't want separate diversity. They want everything being mixed to the point where to play these struggles off against one another. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't want real diversity. They don't want
Divide and
anything-
conquer.
But if people can recognize not real diversity and say that's an obvious fake diversity, it's going to just push people away from that concept. Like I can never be Asian. I'm literally not Asian.
That's why.
So
That's why
I
the
can't be
majority-
diverse and be Asian or
That's
whatever.
why the majority of us have rejected this shit show and things like it.
Well, yeah, even the people who are in the minorities that are trying to like pander to don't like it because they're like, this doesn't make sense. But anybody who reads the books, like, if you have people telling you Robert Jordan is racist because he used too many white people and freaking the two rivers, you're like, why are
England?
why are there
Well, I guess
the
they
main
should have
characters?
been Indian then.
Why are the main characters all white? It's like maybe because all the main characters came from the same place.
Yeah.
They're called the
Except
MSBL
one, but he
5.
also came from a wide different place. So
Well, he came from a stand out from that area, but he's still technically white because it's like
Yeah.
you have one guy in Europe that's from a different part of Europe. Well, of course, like let's say the whole town is all Gauls, like they're all German tribes, and then he's from Ireland, and he's over there. Well, guess what? They're all technically European. It's just he's from a different part of Europe. That's literally what it is. But he's still white, so that's.
But
a
you
problem.
can tell because he has red hair. That
But
he's from
Moraine's
Ireland, right?
Moraine's from a white culture. Well, yeah, she's from Kyrian.
Yeah, from
Land's
France,
from Malkier,
right.
which apparently is white. I don't know what to tell you. And then you're like picking a character, and then you get to other characters. Tuon. Well, she's not white. She's not a main character. Well, she plays a big role in one of the main characters. So like you have other characters and other groups.
Well, but
added
she's
together.
Technically evil because she's Xiantian, right? So
Well, she's evil because she
doesn't
has
count.
a slave empire. But I mean,
Well, that too.
I think people misunderstand the Shanshan horribly, but that's a different story.
I almost 100% guarantee you, because the children have slaves, they're going to make Tuan white.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Actually, in one of the other discords I'm in,
Well,
there was
that's
a picture of
assuming we get there.
basically an albino woman who's bald, and they're like, "This is my casting for Tuon." That's like, all right, it's a Netflix adaptation. Here we go. I don't think they'll even have Tuon because that would imply that Matt would be getting with somebody, and that would imply that
but
he's not a
gay. We all know that.
well, no. It would imply that he's not a scumbag like his dad.
Well, they
That's
probably
also
won't
true.
have it, however, because they won't get that far, but we'll see.
If anything, it'll be
I'm hoping for
Lady
that.
Suroth will come back and still be in power. That's how they're going to do it. I don't know, but I like this scene because it says Alana's like, "I'm not going to take you back to the tower." I was like, "That's
What?
literally what you do in the books.
Yeah,
That's
but
literally what you do in the
isn't
like."
Farron also there?
Yes, Varen and Alana were there.
And they just
Well, they gotta-
They
gotta-
gathered like 13 girls and said, "We're going to Tarvalon," and then they get to
They-
Camelin, and that's where Rand meets them and scares the bejeebers out of the girls because he's the Dragon Reborn. And
I think they're jump starting the Egwene's tower, so to speak. Here,
Oh, this is the Sally Dayra. Is that what we're doing?
yeah.
Maybe.
It's also Manetheren.
Yeah, that could happen.
Well, we just lost Days Conger, so
that next episode is the White Tower collapse, I guess. So
probably maybe that's what they're going to end the season on is the
Right.
implosion of the tower.
So my prediction of last time that this episode was supposed to have Rand in it completely
I crapped the bed.
was wrong.
Yeah.
So Alcair Dal next.
It has to be
episode,
Alcair Dal
confirmed.
because it's the only one it has. It's the only episode left for it to fit.
And I think we will not see Tia, but we'll just have a big epic battle against
Well, if the
Lanfear.
Shido still play a role in this, they should be going to Kyrian to start just
but
taking...
that's season 4 if it ever happens.
Well, that after Alcair
The
Dal,
ending-
that's what
the
they would be
ending-
doing.
The ending will be a big epic battle between Moraine and Lanfear, and Rand will just sort of.
How is that going to be a
watch from
big
the
epic
sidelines.
battle? Lanfear's going to wipe the floor with her.
No, but Moraine has the Chodan Cow. Sorry, I mean
Well.
the Sakanen.
Yeah, but you can't control it.
So mutually assured destruction.
Is she gonna glass everything like Egwene does in the book?
Yeah, and then she dies. So we have.
I love this particular scene because it goes
Portal.
against literally what Alana said when they got here. She's like, "I'm
Mhm.
going to build an army." So she gets an army. I'm going to leave you guys here.
No, she's going to build the army here, right?
But she's not because she's leaving.
Is she?
That's what I thought she said. Let's.
Oh,
watch.
I don't recall that.
Will you take us
um,
back to the tower? No.
No,
The pattern has bigger plans for us.
us.
Now, us means her and Maxim, or her, Maxim, and the girls, or what? And she's also, I'd like to point out, she's wearing a collar.
Yeah,
That's a better representation of a collar.
and
than anything
also
that Shan-Chan has.
the clothing got healed too.
Well, that's how that works. Now that you saved my, like,
Is it?
I really want her to say, "I have toe to you."
Yeah.
Also,
So they didn't know how to heal her when she was stabbed, right? So she should be dead.
Well, she told them
But-
how to do it.
Yeah, but they didn't. They couldn't.
They just
do it.
leave. It's like, okay, the pattern has. I don't understand. They're like, hey, looks like
Oh
we
yeah,
might
we
have a new
forgot.
blacksmith."
Aram grabbed his sword and killed the Trolloc,
Yeah, that totally happened that way.
and Loyal's dead.
Yeah.
so the fandom is saying that Loyal is going to come back with either the powers of Mashin Shin, or he'll be able
Yeah,
to
but
summon
that's
it like,
ridiculous.
but be
right?
able to summon it like in a Naruto
I
summoning,
can see
you know,
them do it
Kushi
actually.
no Jutsu, and he summons Mashin Shin wherever he wants, you know. But
we had a deal.
And this,
I
we
like
had
that,
a deal.
that deal is funny because it's like you let the freaking Dark Friends in. Like you're the reason
Yeah.
we're here to begin with.
Mhm. That's what I would say if I was Perrin, but I'm not. So yeah.
Yeah.
see, this is a secret plot by Perrin to marry Born Dane over there,
What?
so he could kill him with his axe.
Oh, that's true.
But here's
Yeah,
the thing.
I can
I
see that.
can't think of a way for them to get Perrin out of Dane Bornhald's control without Dane Bornhald just being like, you know what? I forgive you, and then just moving
Mhm.
on with life. Like
Well,
there's no way out of this because if Dane's so
Well, other than killing Dane.
Well,
yes,
Dane's
but
a
then
white
he,
guy,
that'd
so
be
he's
going
gonna
back
kill
on
him.
his Perrin's whole thing right now. His whole arc is I need to put down the sword first.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
remember,
That's
exactly.
his whole thing.
Perrin is a man, so
well,
Faile
about that.
is going to lead the giant army of the Two Rivers and take out like those 50 White Cloaks.
Mhm.
Well, they could do that right now if
But
they
see-
wanted to. But the whole point is that Perrin won't let them, nor
They
will he like them
also
saving
sort
him.
of wrote
Well, no.
themselves in a corner here because, of course, the White Cloaks helped, and Perrin is honorable,
Yeah.
and
But
they
see-
had a deal.
Well,
so
but the
he
problem
has
is
to
that
accept now.
you
So
you
what do
help,
we
but
do?
you also hurt by actually letting
Once-
them in the door to begin
Once
with.
Perrin leaves with them out those gates, his word is kept.
Yes, but he would not just be like, "Hey, just come get me later on tonight at the camp."
He's not gonna do that. It's gonna
No.
be plus he's a man. He can't save himself. It's gonna be
that's
Faile
true.
who saves him.
Do you
leading
do you
them.
think they're gonna do like the wolf attack, like they would
No.
in Eye of the World, and
There'll
just
be
do
too
that
many-
to save him?
There'll be too many male wolves in there, so they won't do it.
Or maybe do you think that he'll actually have his intro to the Wolf Brother or the Wolf Dream, and do basically a Lord Luke and pull himself into the Wolf Dream through Hopper, and then
I don't think so.
well that
You're
will
you're way
vanish.
overthinking this. There's
No,
gotta
no,
be
I
a
I'm
think
woman.
I'm trying
Dane
to
is
think
going
of
to
a way-
see the light and
We've
release
already
him.
said how they're gonna do it. It's gonna be a woman who saves him. It's probably gonna be Faile leading an army.
Either that,
Yes,
or
but
Dane just says,
he
actually,
won't
never
do it,
mind,
though.
you can go free.
But that's what I'm saying is that Galad at this point showing up being a white cloak would make sense, and like I'm Lord Captain Commander now because
again,
Niall's dead.
If Faile
That would
takes
make
like
sense.
I don't know the thousands of Two Rivers guy takes up those 50 white cloaks, what's Perrin going to do about it?
What? Be very pissed off at them. Yes.
Not Perrin. This is show Perrin. Show Perrin like, oh shucks, well I kept my word and left town with him. Faile,
But
you were smart.
he is showing no signs that he's okay with somebody chasing after. If anything, he's countering Faile's will to do that.
But again, in the show, he's a man. He's going to submit to her will.
No. He's a male. He's not a man. There's a difference.
When she rescues him, right? He's going to yell at her for a little bit and then submit to her having done it. And we're not saying anything about it.
Sage, did you ever watch Guardians of the Galaxy?
Which one?
The second one.
I
think it was the second one. When Yondu
I mean, I distinctly remember the way the first one was going.
There's a particular.
Oh, the second one is when they go to the planet that's his father, right?
Yeah, and he says he may have been your daddy, but he's never been your father.
Oh yeah.
Or vice versa, or whatever that is. That's basically what it is. Like you may be a. He's like you may be a male. It doesn't make you a man.
But he ain't your daddy.
But that's the thing. Is like. Perrin's not acting like a man; he's acting like a male with an emotional streak.
I would call that a boy, but sure.
Well, a boy is also a male.
Yeah, but
so I'm saying he doesn't.
I mean, it seems
I'm
weird.
not granting him. I'm not granting him the label of master and sitting on the council. I'm literally denying him of that because his man card's gone. He's a male.
That's unfair.
He's biologically male, despite his other opinion of it, but. It doesn't make sense in that regard, and he does this stupid.
But yeah,
I don't get it.
He has no choice, right? Because his character is honorable, so this is the only way this situation is going to happen.
Well, I wouldn't say he's honorable as much as just a coward, but yeah.
Well, okay, fair enough. But like, he's supposed to represent honor, even though they do it in a coward way.
And so he's going to keep his word right out with them, and then a woman's going to save him. That's the way it's shown.
And then
but I don't see that happening because Perrin's going to be like they're on the side
since he
of
left
the light. And
Perrin and Faile go free, right? He's now gone because he's captured by the White Cloak, so he has free reign to kill the Two Rivers.
I could who Dane
Perrin and Faile
again.
Yes, but he doesn't know that he's gone.
You're trying to write a better show than they.
No. I'm trying to predict where they can go with it because at this point, like Sage has said,
they're not going anywhere because there's no season 4.
But wherever they go with it has to involve a woman saving Perrin.
About that,
that's probably.
But I was thinking it could be
it
could be Dark Friends / Trollocs that attack the White Cloaks to get to Perrin.
Are there going to be women leading them?
Yeah,
I mean.
Think about almost every time.
Now that I think about it, it could be like a Lanfear type character that comes in and saves them for Rand's sake or something.
Every single time.
Maggedian's an unstable freaking rock sucker.
A significant male character gets saved, it's by a woman.
Raven's got killed, right, already. So
no, Raven is not. Samael was.
Samael. Oh, okay, fair enough. The guy with the hammer.
Samael was considered the weakest, which is not true. He was not the weakest. But I think they merged Samael with Asmodean, so it doesn't matter either way. But Samael was on the screen for like I think 2 scenes. Like he shows up when they're having their little
in the Dark Friend meeting. Yeah, I guess
they showed up.
Wow, the chosen meeting.
And then
when he hammers the Aiel hideout.
Yeah, with his 5 Dark Friend Aiel. It's like the dumbest thing in the world. It was so bad. And you cannot tell me that would be a lot of money in freaking, special effects. Like having 20, 30, 40, 50 guys, 100 guys show up and have an actual combat scene is not going to cost you more than a special effects scene. It's not going to.
There's not going to be anywhere near the number of Aiel in this show that there are in the books.
Well, yeah.
No. If you look at the preview for the next episode, right, there's a shit ton of them near Al-Qadal.
Okay, the Shadow alone had 300,000.
But that's probably CGI. So
yeah, all the clans together would be probably over 1 million.
Over? There are millions of Aiel based on the description.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about fighting specifically.
Well, no, yeah, there's probably between 1 and 2 million who go with Rand. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's gonna win no matter what. Like they can scale your walls, they can kill you in the night, they can do whatever they wanted to. They will take your place.
The only ones, based on what we know, that could have stood up to the Aiel were the Borderlands, and aren't enough of them.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't
No,
even say that they
they
could stand up to them. They would hold a better
They would-
chance, but they would not stand up to them.
they would last a bit longer.
That's what I was
let's
saying.
call
Like
it.
they would do better against the Aiel, but they would not survive.
Well, they don't have
the
the they
Aiel.
don't have the numbers, but if Land is typical of the Borderlanders, which he fairly
He's
is.
not.
Well, he's not. He's above average by far.
He's like the super borderlander.
Well, he's peak Borderlander, but most of them
He's
are.
a T2 model.
You know, they're. I mean, the Borderlanders aren't like hardened by the desert the way the Aiel are, but
They are hardened by battle that they consistently do.
yeah.
but-
So that's why they would.
Yeah, but-
of anyone they would.
But not to AE levels.
Yeah, but I also gather that they didn't participate as much in the Aiel war because they were busy, on the Borderlands. So,
Anyway, that was the episode.
I would say
Only one more to go.
I would
with some
say,
interesting science in there.
I would
Yeah.
say that I think if the Borderlanders did show up, they would have helped, but not stopped the because that was only 4 clans that came across. That wasn't that many. Having
That
all
was
13,
still like 1 million people.
between just 4 clans, maybe because it didn't say how many came from the 4 clans. It wasn't the whole 4 clans. I don't think it was.
I'm
only like-
presuming it's comparable to what they sent when they came back with.
I mean, if there was only 50,000 of them, I think they would still wreck the place with a lot. Because it's not like they're hitting all of the all of the wetlanders showing up to fight them are not all showing up at the same time. They're showing up one at a time. So it's like if you have a couple of guys facing, like if you have 3 guys taking on 10 guys that come around the corner and they kill the 10 guys, and then they go to the next corner, there's another 10 guys, you kill those 10 guys, and you keep going. It's a lot easier than if like 100 guys show up against the 3. So in that regard, they go up. I don't know why they go all the way up to the tower. There's no reason for them to go there during the Aiel War, but they go there. Like I think maybe it was Layman went up there. I don't remember, but they go up there. But then they decide we're done, and then all the way was like we turned them back, and the other guys are like we didn't turn them back. They left. Like they weren't beaten by any means. So I don't know. I feel like the Borderlanders are more hard than the
Battle of
soft.
the Shining Walls, right?
Well, yeah, they think it's the Shining Walls. It's like no, if they wanted, no
But it's
freaking
actually
Shining
the
Wall is going to
Bloodstone.
keep them out if they want to get over that wall. They could have gotten over that wall without going through the gate. That's one of the reasons that Aiel are so cool. Now, if the Aiel, wanted to come over just plowing through every army that they get, they would definitely do so. I don't remember because the last battle was 1 million, I think, wetlanders specifically, and that was all the nations essentially. So minus obviously Terabon because they were with the Shan-Shan at the time, but I don't think they could pull that out with that many nations. And then you have the Aiel coming out with 13 clans, or 12 clans technically speaking, 12 clans coming out and joining Rand. They didn't mention the numbers of that, but it was supposed to be like 1 million. That was still outnumbered by Trollocs in the last battle. So
wait, the Trollocs are like orcs. They're like tens and hundreds of millions of them or whatever.
yeah, but they're a little bit more deadlier than orcs.
Well,
by
again,
a lot.
Numbers have a deadliness all their own.
Well, yeah,
mean-
I'm just saying, like, if you have like 2-3 million Trollocs that are like Ogier size because they're like 8 foot, 10 foot tall, they're going to by default be harder to stop than orcs would. Just sheer flat, right?
Well,
right
it's
there.
the whole nerd. So the reason Sauron was going to win the War of the Ring was because he had millions of orcs and no one had numbers. The process of whittling it down.
Yeah, like he can create orcs faster than babies can grow up into soldiers. So, but humanity didn't have time on its hands, or on its side. But I would say that the Borderlands, they would definitely hold a better shot because they're more hardened warriors that are better warriors. I don't think they would do anything to stop the Aiel.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I said they would be the best chance. To
Of the wetlands, sure, because the north is battle hardened, the south is soft.
And I don't think, based on the Borderlanders guarding the border during the Aiel War, that they sent very many representatives down to Aiel War.
Yeah, and it would have been like Wireman with his stupid cavalry charges when he did that so much. Just so stupid. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to I'm trying to think of a way that they could utilize to get him out of the situation. I don't think we're going to see Perrin the rest of this season. He won't be in the next
how much time do you have
episode.
left? How much
I
time
can't
do you
hear
have
you,
left,
Sage.
It's only one episode, so
Yeah, but I don't think we'll see him because this
And it's
whole
going
this
to
whole
focus
episode was
entirely-
about him. So I don't think
Yeah,
we'll see
yeah.
him at
But
all.
next episode is going to be all about Tenchiko and the Aiel waste.
Yeah, but you think
How-
they'll
how
actually,
much
do you
time-
think they'll actually solve Tenchiko next episode?
And maybe.
I don't.
How
think
much
so.
time do you have left,
Well,
Sage?
Sage, how much time do you have left? 12 minutes.
half an hour, maybe
Oh.
max.
Yeah.
Why don't we
do that
Why
long.
don't we look at the preview for the next episode and see if,
Sure.
I don't wanna
make a
judge
couple predictions,
myself.
see if we can get. Well, I mean, you know, if you
yeah,
were
sure.
industrious, you could edit this out into its own little video.
Where do you find the previews?
It's after
Explore?
the. No, if you watch the.
Is it just the
thing,
end of the
it just-
episode?
It's the end of the episode, I think. Yeah.
Oh, the 4 minutes
Yeah.
left. Let me.
Or you can just like YouTube, you know.
If it sort of continues.
Also, the
on-
music
Ooh.
was not.
Was there music?
There was music in this episode, and it did not fit whatsoever. I'm still going. Nope. There's no trailer at the end of this.
No.
Go to YouTube.
It's like a little intro bit, and then they do a sort of cast talking thing. It just popped up on my end after watching it.
Well, you could
automatically.
share it.
Yeah, but I don't have it here right now.
You just said it popped up.
Yeah, when I watched it, which is like a while back.
Episode 8. Oops.
Preview, I guess. would be
Trailer.
the thing.
Somebody has a web episode, or I need to do the right one. Season 3.
Okay, so I have one on Twitter, which means you can probably watch it and not get dinged.
Well, here's a random one by Lady Diligence. I don't know who that is. Thread on the pattern. The final trailer. Oh, here's the Amazon Trailer Pro pictures. 43 seconds.
I don't know if that's it.
The fiction.
There should be like
There's no
a
Amazon.
purple beam, some deserts.
Apparently, Stephen King hates Wheel of Time, but I don't care because Stephen King
Who?
is stupid. You don't know who Stephen King is? The author of It. Pennywise the Clown.
No.
Carrie, Cujo.
If one of you guys.
You've never seen Carrie, the movie?
I don't watch horror movies because they put me to sleep.
Or Cujo?
I can hear that. I can hear that. Wow, that's loud. Woo. I'm finding allegedly 40 to 50 second long promos, but
Yeah, that's
I'm-
about right.
they're not. None of them are Amazon.
Was a spam call.
They're all-
My phone, my phone has great pickup. I'm looking on Twitter to see if I can find the previews, because on Twitter we could watch the whole thing without
yeah.
without getting
Oh,
dinged.
here. Well, that's just the season 2 bloopers for Wheel of Time.
Anyway,
The
I'll
whole
send you a quick
season is
link.
freaking blooper. I was gonna say you just share it in StreamYard.
Yeah, but it's easier if you do it.
Okay, here's a trailer. I got one
You want to share it?
for the 8th and final episode. This is it. Okay, let me. I'm gonna. Let me do it this way. I'm gonna share it this way. Present. Screen share.
It's the trailer preview promo, episode 8.
There you go.
Why do you not have dark mode on, dude? What the heck?
Because of my eyesight.
Gonna kill my eyesight.
So call it up and I'll make it big.
Zoom
So
on.
now I'm
in.
gonna.
It's also playing, by the way.
You know, well, because it's on Twitter, it could play.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the one.
All right.
So obviously this is
because I didn't hear anything
branded
when it was
up and
playing.
down.
So
Well, I'm getting all that going. Problem, I don't know if I could. Am I sharing volume on this tab?
are you using
I mean,
Chrome?
do we need to?
I'm using Brave.
Yeah, that should work.
So obviously, Al Qaeda.
Yeah, I hear
Can
it.
you hear it?
I hear it.
Al Qaeda.
What is that language? Al Qaeda.
Under your control.
Those are digital. Those are digital.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
we see that? Go back. We gotta go
See,
stop.
What do you mean go
The
back?
purple
You're the one
beam?
controlling it.
No. Trying to find it.
Go back even further.
Right there. So
Oh,
they're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
they're gonna
So
do
they the
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve sinking. bit.
Oh, they're killing off Abu Dar then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's the reason why Matt's here.
Is that Tom?
That's Tom.
That's
yeah.
Tom.
Didn't you not remember Tom from this the episode 6?
I remember he was in it, but I don't remember what he looked like.
This is the Balefire.
Was that a
beam.
freaking lightsaber?
Yes. It's the
Tyranno. The Balefire.
Yeah.
If we underestimate her, we die.
Chief the
So-
Wise wants to know what I saw in Viridian. They
This
saw
is
the people cannot
Al-Qadar.
face that truth.
Very nice.
What in the light's name is going
We
on?
are the tower, of
This is
course.
what it
We
was
see
called.
the towers down for it.
I'm going to
So I'll go back on specific
Being more
info
anchored.
clues when we're done.
Are you back on me? Or you will die! They call me insane.
She
Yeah,
is.
right.
Why is Lanfear using a sword? What is that?
Anyone
Why not?
No. Hold on.
You're a
Go back.
monster.
Go back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
Hit play, and I'll tell you when to pause. It'd be really good.
Right
There. Go back. Go back.
I
Whoa,
could
whoa,
just
whoa.
drag it.
Go a little bit further. A little bit further.
Yeah, so
little bit
Also,
further.
before we go further,
A little bit further.
Okay, bucklers, bows.
Their caught
no
in swords
redheads.
are too dark, but yeah.
Yeah, virtually no redheads.
You can't blend in the desert or in a wasteland, which they shouldn't be a
Oh,
desert
okay.
anyway.
Look at all those Aiel. So maybe they are going big.
No,
Okay.
actually, what's that
that's
outfit
digital.
on the left person?
That's Ruark, I believe. His probably his chieftain.
Why does he
outfit.
have
No, stop here. Stop
a
here.
massive cape?
That right there, that is CGI random generated people. Like that's what they use for like Lord of the Rings and
Yeah.
stuff.
But also on the right there, you see the
This.
that's Al-Qadar.
that pitiful excuse of Al Kerdal. So this would be the chieftain chairs that they never use except for official business thingies. There's no bowl or anything, and it's supposed to be like a whole fair. There's supposed to be massive structures. It's supposed to be everything.
inside a fucking canyon.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the Iowa Waste doesn't have deserts, as far as I'm aware. At least not unless
I
they're
know it
very
might
far
have
south.
desert, but it's
Well, if they do,
it's-
they're extremely far
mostly
south.
rocky.
They're not up north, which is where Al Kerdal is.
Yeah.
And also, like, you can't be an Aiel person and wear black and you're caught in sore, because you can't hide in this color with black. That's why it's
Yeah, it should
brown and
be
greens.
gray, right?
Well, it's brown and greens because they fit in with whatever brush is in the waste, as well as
Yeah.
whatever stone. Gray would be in there as
So-
well, but it's mostly brown and green because you can blend in with things. It's supposed to be like camouflage. So how do you camouflage with black? There's nothing in the waste that's black.
No, if it's dark outside, they can blend into the shadow. right?
Also-
Because
Yes,
the
but if you
edgy
blend in with your
assassin
surroundings,
people-
when the surrounding gets dark by the moon and or without the moon, so does the rest of the. Yeah, that's how it works.
That's
So look at this.
no,
Something
surely
interesting.
not.
You see, here's the shadows. The sun is coming from this direction, right?
Yeah.
All of a
okay.
sudden, this guy has a shadow going.
That's him. That's him
perpendicular.
jumping.
No, that's
He's
the
jumping.
person itself.
That's the person jumping.
Oh, it's like a shadow to me, but maybe it's an eyesight thing.
No,
Well, that's
like,
because they all
slowly pull the drag the bar or whatever, and you should
They're
see
all
it.
black, right? So
Yeah, that's a real person.
Okay.
But they're using a program because this is like game RTS.
now what are they doing?
They're
Are
going
they just
"Ah!" because that's what Aiel do, apparently.
No, but like, if we go back to the guy that Matt thought was a shadow, what is he even doing?
You mean a Shido?
Maybe
No.
he's getting ready to take a
Oh.
dump there.
He's just jumping.
But what?
Well, remember the Aiel randomly jump up in the air and kick in the air to prove they're cool or whatever.
I guess.
Go back to the very beginning, and then hit
Do
play.
they make a sound?
Right here. Go ahead and hit play.
Okay, dog.
Pause it. Al-Khair doll. Not Al-Khair doll. Al-Khair doll. It's like
Yeah.
so freaking bad. Oh. If the mispronunciation was the only problem with the series, I would probably be a lot happier. Unfortunately, that's not. But Lanfear
does-
shouldn't be
does
here.
Al-Khair doll
I'm
have a
assuming.
specific
I'm assuming what they're
pronunciation
doing
for it?
is they're merging Kyrian docs with Al-Khair doll. So when Lanfear gets chucked through the
Yeah,
doorway
yeah.
by, that's what they're
And
going
that's
to do.
why I was saying the set piece of this episode will be the big epic battle between Lanfear and Moraine. Moraine powered up by Sakanin. Lanfear just being epic, powerful by herself, because why not?
Absolute. No, it's like, what is it? What is it?
And they will both
what's
die
Palpatine
in
say?
the nuke.
What's Palpatine say? On something power.
Power.
Absolute
Unlimited
power. Unlimited power.
I thought he said something else other than absolute power. I thought he's like
No,
unstoppable.
it's unlimited.
Unlimited power is literally like what Lanfear is. And this is where she's going to lose her block because the boat she's in. Why is she in a boat? Nothing off the shoreline is necessary for the boat. You don't have a Guinan. You don't have any other storyline. Why are you in the boat?
I like the juxtaposition here. Oh, they do like even Elaine's like, why is she in the water? Why is she, you know? It's like,
What?
Run, Nynaeve.
You can't run underwater.
well, I guess that's balefire.
And that's
that's not balefire. It's a Terangriel that uses
shoots balefire.
Well, yeah, but balefire's not a freaking rail gun shot or whatever it is.
No, it is not.
Her hair looks so much of a wig.
Sure. Oh no. You only wanted power, Mierin.
You're a monster. I
Yeah,
is he expecting a positive outcome from that? I don't know.
I don't know, but what are we looking at here? What is this?
So
is that a bed on the right side? Are they channeling someone into a bed?
Well, that's how he gets people pregnant.
So since
They have a circle of 13
together,
to impregnate people.
have they linked their powers?
Maybe that's well, you have a Gwaine, Bear.
I see a glowing orb.
Mullane.
That Moraine's holding.
She's called a Rasengan. She's making a Rasengan.
Rasengan. I can copy anything you do, Lanfear. I can see it. Well,
she's actually forming the
Rasengan
into a Rasen Shuriken in preparation to throw
men
it.
and women can see each other's weaves.
Oh yeah,
non-channelers
and even
can
non-channelers can, because Valda saw.
And anything of this, none of it matters.
Now I will say,
there's no.
I don't have a complaint that they made the weave visible to everyone because the audience has to be able to see them. You know what I mean?
Yes, but the audience seeing a weave is different than the people recognizing a weave. The rest of the people shouldn't know what's going on.
That I would agree with, but the visibility I don't have a real problem with.
No, visibility is fine, just not for non-channelers or channelers.
Like there should be no reaction. Like let's say Ruark's in there. Ruark should not be reacting because she shouldn't be able to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
he
also,
should just react as if they had it in CGI.
Okay, so I want to go back just a little bit right here. This is where we go. Shai Lahood.
How deep?
Nice.
Then he just like pops out of the ground.
This is the other side of that scene where Rand and I guess
this is above this is Alcair allegedly, or Alcair Dal.
Alcair Dal.
It's Alcair Dal, but
Al Qaeda doll.
The Al Qaeda doll.
Okay, so now now we're going to get over to.
That's because you're actually going to get bombed.
Presumably, either Elida and Swan are going to be allies in secret, or this is where Elida.
No, Elida is going to depose her with Alviarn's help.
Yeah, I don't know.
What in the light's name is going on? And she saunters in.
It's extremely weird given the situation that happened last time we were in the tower, because of course, Elida knows Swan was interrogating Dark Friends.
Well,
now Rand's going to reveal the secrets or whatever.
I wonder how the acoustics in that area work.
They wouldn't. It's sand.
Yeah.
These are the wise ones over here, right?
I don't know. There could
presumably be yes.
So where are the rest of them?
Why is there a woman? That would be freaking Savannah. Never mind. That's why she's standing and not sitting. Look at that face. Oh no! What's gonna happen is Lan is going to attack her with a sword. She's gonna blast him backwards. She's gonna take his sword and stab Moraine with it.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, but Moraine.
Why does she have black goop? She's not
because she's evil.
But she doesn't have the taint.
No, but that could be the true power or
true
whatever.
Power,
too.
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the true power would just bypass everything. Yeah, they haven't exactly explained the true power.
I have a feeling they're going to merge the true power and the taint.
And then Moraine just nukes them as she dies. So,
well, she's holding her hands like this.
See,
Why?
you see all the
Because-
little. See all
That's
the little,
because she has the orb, and it's like, oh, power.
I know I'm
Ultimate
joking.
power!
Joking. I know I'm joking about the Rasengan and the Rasen Shuriken, but these little like blades here are what a Rasen Shuriken would do. So I literally think they stole this from Naruto.
Sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway, Nuke is going to open a portal into Hell, through which Lanfear and Moraine both fall. And then she can come back still because technically she's still alive, but she's dead, right?
The whole
Okay,
the whole
so
black
here's-
ooze stuff is really stupid.
Is that Elata?
That's
I
can't
It's
tell.
very dark.
It's red.
I would say no, but maybe.
No,
Oh,
that
yeah,
that is Elida.
yeah.
So this is Lanfear with, I guess, the true power or whatever.
Or she's just
But the
channeling
true
aside.
power,
Unless-
they wouldn't be able to see the true power. And
Unless
they
Rand is
bypass
hitting
it.
her with the taint.
Maybe.
He's hitting
yeah.
him. He's hitting her with his tank.
Ooh.
he can choose better.
Yeah, he just plays with some floaty will-o-wisps.
Yeah, so
For
those
some
are
reason.
those are dragons. You can't see the head.
Not really.
Those are-
Oh,
but
they're
those are-
supposed to be dragons.
Those are the Asian dragons.
there's
that are on
3
his armor.
dragons there. There's a white one, a red one, and a blue one.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I guess it's a
Right,
yellow one,
so
but you can't really tell.
The red one is Rand, right? Who's the blue
I'm
one?
like, huh?
So where are the rest of the wise ones? There should be like hundreds or thousands of them.
Oh, they were sick, so they stayed home.
There's not that many wise ones that can channel.
If there are 300,000 Shido alone, population-wise, they're going
The
to they're gonna have-
shadow that they record, there was only like 70 of them were Shido.
So
that
let's
were
say that
channeling-
there are.
That
There
were
are-
channeling wise ones. There are plenty of wise ones, but channeling wise ones, there's not that many.
So that means there should be more than 15 of them for the entire gathering of the clans.
There are, well, yes, but there's only a couple clans here at Alkirdal. There's technically only 4,
Yeah,
I think.
Everyone will die. Lovely. See, I don't know why, but the
Why is she
movements
doing
for the
this? You
channeling,
don't
yeah.
have to
Okay.
lift a Tirongriel. Like
Okay,
you're
so she's been not
deposed,
severed, silenced.
stilled.
Stilled.
Yeah, that's what that's.
silenced. I
So
guess
she's
that
probably
was the
watching
word.
Swan get stilled right now.
Maybe. So this is Moraine's nuke explosion.
But it's not though. It's a big, huge bowl top thing.
And,
Yeah.
Why is
and-
Lanfear here? That's what I don't get. Like, what are they doing? Like him getting the Aiel to follow him. Why is she interfering?
Because Rand in the dream said, "You're a monster, Lanfear.
Well,
I don't want to
no.
be with you anymore."
Yeah, I think.
And she
Then
goes
she
all
would
psycho.
literally pop out of the dream, walk into his territory, and mess him up. Literally like
Yeah,
that.
but that's what she's doing here.
No, because it's obviously been some time since he was asleep. This whole thing has happened over time. She
Maybe
knows
he
exactly.
slept just before heading into Alked.
He woke up and just stood up. I'm in the middle of Alkirdal.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how it works.
He teleported there.
He
can do
maybe
that
he
way.
says something like, "I love Egwene more than I love you." And I don't love Egwene.
Oh, you know, interesting.
Oof.
So, if you look at what she's channeling,
Yeah, that's Black
I-
Goo.
but look, there's
it's the Black
strings in it.
Coom.
There's strings in it. Do you
Yeah.
remember how in the book, and I'm not saying that that's what this is. Remember how in the book when he described how the male Forsaken are protected from the taint?
With a sort of mesh. Yeah.
There's like a mesh that the Dark One puts there to maintain to keep the taint from affecting
So are you
them.
saying that Lanfear's channeling Sidon?
I don't think that they're intelligent enough to make that minor decision.
I don't think.
Yeah, I think they were just told make some creepy looking black goo. And this is the result.
I just don't know why. Like the,
No,
ma-
just
the
get-
male,
listen.
the male chosen, Forsaken, whatever. They have a reason to be protected. She doesn't have a reason to be
No, no.
protected.
Follow with me. Okay.
Okay.
So I think like they merged many things in this show to ostensibly save storyline. I think they're going to merge the taint with the true power, and so
Why?
Well,
why-
why do they do anything in this show?
but-
Yeah, good
I
point.
mean, logically
Continue.
speaking, why not have the true power be the one thing putting the taint on side in? I mean, from so.
But if that's
from
the
shows-
case, then the Dark One literally gives Rand access to the true power, which is counterintuitive.
well, again, we're talking about the good, well-written books versus the TV show.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying if they're merging them, any true power she has access to, he by default has access to because he's been tainted, even though they won't use the freaking word, which is annoying.
No, but see the strings.
I mean,
We don't
it looks
see-
like a really bad Venom symbiote, is what it looks
I
like.
don't remember
Yeah,
seeing those strings when when they showed him channeling and showed the taint. Seeing those,
Back when Logain does his thing, they did.
I don't know about that.
When Logain was fighting the King of Gildon, he had the little two bodies pop on either side of him, and they were wrapped up in like black string.
but that's not black string. That's like red and pink string.
I can't tell. I don't know. But again, she has no reason to be protected by it.
Maybe
It also could be other lightning stuff. That's Moraine being stabbed because she has to do this.
yeah.
For
And look,
some
there's a portal
reason-
opening. The portal to hell in the center.
Yeah, but that's not how portals work. Where's the portal coming from? Where's it going to?
It's coming from there and it's going to hell.
So guys,
They don't
what
have
I'm getting
hell
at
in
here
this
is
world.
We're
So
being critical of this,
But
and we
they
can do
also
that
don't
next
have
episode.
the Fin world, so they need something else.
Yes,
What I'm trying to do is figure out where they're going the next episode.
that's
and
that's
take it
literally
to-
what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Sage thinks it's hell. I'm like, there's no twisted red Tyrion
But
Grail
some
door frame.
random ass other dimension.
Well, it can't be the same world because Lanfear would just portal back. like,
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to stop. But also, can't Lanfear just go into the dream world from whatever dimension you take her, and then she
Right, but
just come
can
back
you-
out? Like the only way
Can
you
go
could
to
stop
the dream
Lanfear
world and then pop into any random dimension, or is it?
if you
only
enter
back to-
into the dream world fully. You can go fully anywhere. That's how literally Egwene gets to the wise ones from Saladar.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you're in a different dimension, do you not just pop into the different dimension version?
Not necessarily, because the dream world is all dimensions as far as we know.
Yeah, I know, but
There's only one dream world.
how do you go from the dream world into a specific dimension?
Ask the one lady who would be the best person to ask about that, because she's literally the dream world lady.
Fair enough.
Like, she's literally the dream lady, so being like, you can go in it. The only way you'd stop that would be like the snakes and foxes, where they feed off of your essence and they disable you.
Maybe. Actually, isn't Moghedien better at the dream stuff?
No. Lanfear is the owner of dreams. Moghedien is the best at making plans and putting them into motion. She hides, but she's not better at that at the dream world than her. That's the difference. So I'm not really sure what they're trying to go for, because none of it really makes sense. And why is Lanfear using a sword? She doesn't need a sword.
Because she has to symbolically penetrate Marine.
Oh, we all know she has a strap on for that.
You need to remember the logic of why they do stuff. It's based on these left. These
Because I
left-
distinctly recall something in the book saying Moghedien is better in the dream world.
You know, the other
there are
possibility-
people who claim it, but that doesn't mean it's true. Literally, Lanfear is the one who consistently is marching around the dream world and completely unmolested or anything. Like, she has no fears. Everything is afraid of her. Even the other Forsaken are like, she's way more powerful here than any of us.
Okay, so that's obviously Ruark. Is this Ruark or is that Marine?
That's
No, that's Lanfear.
Moraine. That's Lanfear and Moraine. Probably, she has blood on her chin, so I assume she just got stabbed.
And does that take place here?
Probably.
Probably not.
No, because remember that big dome over Alkerdal? That was Moraine, more likely.
Oh. Was that over?
Okay, so
it just looked like a random
Zoom
vessel.
What
back.
if-
Zoom back. Zoom back. Oh, no, go back and forward. Go forward. Sorry. Keep going. Right there.
Right, but
See,
I
you can
don't
see
see
the-
Alkerdal.
It's that. Okay, you see all the
Just-
Aiel on the ground? That's
Yeah,
all
but the
Aiel.
dome is on
The-
the far.
No.
distance.
The dome is the entire area.
No, the dome is in the background.
We can't see where it actually touches the ground.
It touches the ground in the background.
But I'm saying that little spot there in the middle is
Yeah, okay. The
supposedly
black
Alkerdal.
line is Alkerdal. Yeah.
So this is probably the generation of the dome, I think.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a dome
Yeah, but why make a dome?
because they need a bowl. They just need to put it upside down instead.
So what if this black stuff?
I guess
instead
it
of
could be
being what I
useful
thought
for
it
the
was?
acoustics.
What if it's Rand attempting to restrain Lanfear with his power?
Maybe,
Unlikely.
but I don't know why, because we don't know what's going
It doesn't
on.
look like Rand's channeling.
Rand doesn't like we don't know what Rand's doing in this situation. We just know that Lanfear stabs Moraine.
Yeah.
And
Well-
again, useless motions by Moraine as usual.
Well, I'm assuming that this scene is a follow-up to, where is it? Somewhere in here.
Which
The one where they were powering up. It's like right here.
If we underestimate her, we die.
So I'm assuming that they were making a plan here to take on her with all their powers combined or some shit like that.
The Power
but they're in a
Rangers.
completely different place.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an Alkir doll.
This
But
is
why
correct,
doesn't
actually.
Rand have the taint showing?
Because they forgot about the taint.
Unless that's not
Because
Rand's
we've
channel.
established that consistency is not something the show is capable of.
Well, okay, so there's a circle. Maybe there's, I don't know. I'm trying to, obviously we won't know till tomorrow, I guess. But whatever.
Who knows? Yeah.
Anything you want to see, Sage?
Not really. I've seen all I needed to see.
I don't want to see any of this series at all, and here we are. But they made Ruark look younger than he is normally.
They'll fuse Carrion and Alkadal, and I guess also Iridian and maybe Tyr. Who knows? Tanchico, I don't really know what's going on there. I guess they have to steal the stuff in time for the episode to end.
See, they made him younger and look his little cheeks a little bit fatter.
But the problem is, right, I'm sure there can't be a payoff, or rather a conclusion that is satisfying for this season, right? It's all set up.
So, in the books, right? I know they're skipping around and mixing stuff. Rand's big thing here is becoming like claiming the leadership of that eel, right? So,
Becoming the actual rightful Karakarn.
And defeating Asmodean, making Iridian like an actual place they can go.
An actual city they can live.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It has a nice conclusion, but here we will likely just see the Moraine Lanfear battle.
Yeah. Doesn't Rand
But
turn
in
on?
Tanchico, they need to steal. So we don't have a conclusion for Perrin because he's off to the White Cloak camp.
I'm betting
The
they're going
Tanchico
to
one,
They're going
they have to reclaim the bands and
They're going to have to and the collar,
the leash thingy.
the collar and the
yeah.
armbands. Yeah. I think
But
they're
then
going
what?
to they're going to start the episode in Tanchico. They're going to finish the Tanchico
Yep.
stuff. Then they're going to end up
I think so too.
here, and
And
they're
then
going
we
to
do all of this.
they're going to end with Moraine and Lanfear disappearing and going somewhere else, and that's gonna be the
Nynaeve
end of
has
it.
to somehow drown, which I guess
She's on a boat. The boat
Is happening, yeah.
disappears, or she gets portaled into the water, and then she has to use her powers to get out of it. Which, ironically, she doesn't use her powers to get out of it. Land saves her in the books, but then her
Mhm.
block is broken. So because of the water, but she didn't escape because of the block being removed.
Well, she kept alive because of the block being removed.
No, it was because Land pulled her out of the water.
No, he saved her ultimately. She would have died without him, but she would have died. He wouldn't have been able to save her if she didn't break her block.
Maybe, but she was
Go
still
back and read the
trapped.
sequence. There was no way he was getting to her unless she used her powers to just.
Well,
break
he was in a
something.
he was in a little boat behind her boat. Her boat goes down, or no, it gets ported backwards because of balefire, and
Mhm.
she's left, I guess, over there and is in the water, or something.
She breaks her block because she can't breathe or
no,
something
no.
like that.
So the boat gets bale-fired, but because it goes back in time, right? There's a hole in the boat, and so the consequence is that in the new future, the boat is on the bottom of the sea, and they are still
Well,
in
the harbor,
boat.
but yeah.
So they teleport not back; they teleport underwater.
I'm trying to remember how Land described it. It's been a hot minute since I've read that book. But basically, Land's like, I saw you behind, or I was behind you, and then the boat was somewhere else, and then I basically went there and went down and pulled you out. Now, because of that effect, she breaks her block, but I don't think it was the block being broken that kept her alive or anything. I think she just, whatever.
Hard to say.
Either way,
Yeah.
I think that'll be it for this particular video.
Well, you don't want to watch Leandrin's part in
I
episode 8?
don't care about
No,
Leandrin one
I'm
bit.
good.
Like Leandrin, if they killed her off in the first episode before she was even on screen, I would not shed a tear.
Same.
I if anything, the way they've been utilizing her so much, if they removed her from the plot entirely and they just had the girls randomly walk through a waygate and end up in the Shanshan hands, would make better sense to me than what they did with this. But that's a different story.
But what do you have against Leandrin's jaw? It's the star of the show.
Well, we're not saying anything about that.
She's quite what you might say a huge actress. But, her jawline could win an Oscar. But no, there's going to be some weird stuff going on. We're not going to see anything from Perrin. We're only going to have Tenchiko and wannabe Alcair
Desert.
doll or Alcair doll, whatever the frick that is.
Altair. It's like Altair, but with a C.
I don't know what Altair is supposed to be.
Altair, that's a star. And also the main character of the first Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Altair. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Altair.
But it's no
He
T,
can't
it's a
swim,
T.
by the way.
Oh.
Who needs to swim in the Middle East? Everyone.
I guess, there's not really much water there.
Except for the harbor, where you drown.
Well, the
consistently.
Saudis are making artificial ocean inland and all sorts of crazy stuff going on.
It's a bunch of stuff. But anyway, thanks guys for hanging out. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Share would be great. Whatever you would like to do, dislike if you want to, because either way it doesn't matter to YouTube because YouTube's algorithm sucks, and they don't know what they're doing at this point. But hopefully we will have the next episode be the final episode, maybe forever if we're lucky.
I hope so.
If we're not lucky, we'll
Then
see you in a couple years for that.
We'll be here soon enough.
But not soon enough. It'll take 2 years, probably 2-3 years.
Okay.
They haven't greenlit it, so no saying that.
Let's hope it never happens.
There is a video going on Twitter that is trying to get season 4 greenlit by pleading with Amazon to get it greenlit.
Well,
So-
since they fired Salky, once
I
the
don't
new
think
guy,
it matters.
it does because the new guy has to review is going to review everything.
I know, but what I'm saying, well, they removed her whole position completely, so I don't know what the other person's position is. But
Our boss basically is taking over our job.
so,
Oh.
if these guys plead with them and they get all these what would you call them? Show shills?
Showrunners.
Show shills. All the YouTube channels like the Dusty Wheel and
We call them show fans, show friends.
yeah, but they're shills. I want to use a reference that people who are not familiar with the book terms or fan book terms understand. Show shills. They're shilling for the show. They're going to have a loud voice. It's unlikely that anyone on our side is going to make a ruckus about it because they don't think it'll matter. But if it does show up, I'm going to blame everyone on our side that said it wasn't going to matter because they didn't want to put the effort in to stop it.
Mhm.
So if they didn't stop it,
I mean, what can I do? Right. I'm
well,
just
I
a
mean,
random guy.
you're a nobody, but that's a different story for other people who have YouTube channels that are bigger than me and
That's
you.
fair.
But if
Well,
you,
So I don't want you blaming me.
well, I'll blame you, but that's a different story. You didn't go on Twitter and say something about it, Sage. But we don't have a counter crusade, and if we don't have a counter crusade, we can't say that they won't do it. Like people are relying way too much on common sense dictates that they won't do it.
No, there are tons of people slamming this show. Okay?
But we're not actively on YouTube. YouTube has a larger voice than someone's blog or someone's Twitter thing. Like it's legitimately, if you have their side going out and
Well, who else
posting out
besides Shad and
Disparu,
Desperado, they slam the show all the time.
there's man carrying things. I think is anti-show. You have this Owen guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. He's against it.
I see at least
Sword and Pen Reflections.
every week.
Lady Gravemaster.
Across my recommendations, at least 15 different videos of people slamming the show pop up.
I don't get those, but I don't know.
Well, then your algorithm is fucked.
The algorithm's terrible.
Do you
man.
actually watch any of them?
I can't watch them if they don't pop up on my algorithm.
You have to go look for them and then watch
If I have to
them.
go look for them, it defeats the entire purpose of the algorithm.
You have to train your algorithm.
I've watched stuff for Sword of Pen
And that's too
Reflections.
much effort.
I've watched.
Like-
well, yes, but once you start watching something else, it wipes out that whole thing. So, like,
Well, no, then you have to go looking for it and train it back.
Yeah.
then I
so
watch
it's too much
anything
effort.
else and it wipes it out. Like literally, unless you watch only that, which there's obviously not enough content, it will eventually go to something else. It's
Mhm.
annoying to find the things I actually am subscribed to because they don't put the things I'm
Well, I
subscribed to
either
in front of me.
either go into
Yeah.
your subscriptions and watch what's there.
Well, I try, but I don't always know that they're there to begin with, so I don't know that I can go watch them. But the point being is that either we make a stink about it on our side, which I'm not big enough for anybody to really
Oh,
care
we
about
are.
my opinion, but we're not.
Who else besides the people we talked about do you want to make a stink about it?
No, I'm saying they're not making an active representation. If Daniel Green,
But they are.
Dusty Wheel, no, they're not though. Disparu hardly talks about it, and he talks about
He
it more than
reviews
Shad
every
does.
episode.
I know, but I'm saying he's not making a stink about episode 4. He's just saying that the show's bad. He's not saying like we need to stop this, you need to save your money or get a better version of this coming out. Like just saying like, oh, I reviewed the show. We're reviewing the show. White Cloaks review the show. Prophet of the Dragon reviews the show. But if we're all combined, we can make a bigger stink than the guys who are trying to counter that by making a counterpoint. They're trying to do the same thing, but in the opposite effect. They're trying to get it renewed by having a bunch of big channels, 10,000, 30,000, whatever the case might be, trying to pull people and get the attention of Amazon. But all the big companies like Amazon, Disney, maybe Apple to some extent, and all the, like HBO, whatever, they recognize that YouTube's a bigger force than they are. So if they recognize that, then we need to use that tool to counter them. But if people don't come out and counter it, there's nothing we could do. I'm just this little YouTuber that hardly scrapes the bottom of the barrel. So no one's going to listen to me. But I am going to point out that if we don't say anything, and I say the royal we of everyone on our side on the YouTube sphere, if we don't say something against it and we do get a season 4, you can't be like, well, they weren't going to do it. Well, obviously they were going to do it if they did freaking do it. But if we don't do anything and it doesn't happen, say, see, we didn't have to do anything. But then we're not showing that we support they're not doing another one, because they might a couple of years later have another Jennifer Salke enter the area and then repeat this all over again.
And while I agree in idea with you, in concept, I don't think getting the same people who are slamming the show to slam it more is going to change their minds.
But we're not just slamming the show. We're making it definitive. We don't want you to butcher this beyond this, because again, I don't know how many subscribers everyone you watch has entirety, but Disparu, I don't know how many views he gets per Wheel of Time videos opposed to his other videos.
Probably not a lot because he hasn't done season 3.
There's another reason. But
Yeah.
even my videos.
But I'm going to go now. So
all right, CSA.
Yeah, let's wrap
farewell
this up.
ahead
Let's
of
wrap this
Yeah,
time.
bum. But yeah, anyway, we'll just go ahead and leave it there. Sage, you're not doing anything, so we can skip you. Matt,
Actually, this week only wrestling. The wrestling show tomorrow,
which they will
should
not
be on
know.
3 hours early.
They'll not know until the end of the week.
Yeah, so by the time you see it, there'll be a warmer.
Just tell
We're
them
not
tell them what day, and then they can go back in time.
on Wednesdays, the week of this video. Normally, Wednesday is overbooked is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Joker Watch's channel. However, the week of this video, it's WrestleMania week, and plus the meetup is in Vegas for the Friday Night Tights crew.
Yeah.
So our show is going to be 3 hours earlier at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Do you guys have like locals or something to where you can watch it with members and stuff? Because that's what Geeks and Gamers does for their WrestleMania stuff.
No, we just basically we don't watch. We don't review the wrestling. We talk about it.
Well, that's what they do is they watch it with their members and stuff on locals.
That might
then,
eventually
and then
be
they
something.
and then they just like commentate as they go, and then after it's over, I believe they should just keep talking about it, what they think is going to happen the next one.
That
Whatever.
might be something we eventually do, but
I mean, if I had enough people who would be interested in doing that, I wouldn't mind doing a locals and doing that for like the entire episode of this stuff, where we could react like we are now on YouTube, but we could do the actual reaction on locals.
Well,
like in real time thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have enough people that would care, let alone want to give me money. So I'm just not going to do it. It's a lot of effort for nothing. And I'm already doing that. But anyway, yeah. We'll have this out, and then we only have one more week of this nonsense. And then I have to decide if I want to do 6 again or not. I don't want to. I don't want to, but I know it's gonna look weird if I don't have it. But at the same time, I don't want to.
If you want to do what?
Remember, I had that one episode that.
The microphone is picking it up.
Yep, it is, and it's loud. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Ah, there we go. It's like there's gotta be a snooze button on there somewhere. But no, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I missed an episode because I had it recorded, and I thought I uploaded
What
it.
show are you talking about?
Episode 6, I believe, is what it was.
Of what?
Or no, episode 5.
Oh, you mean episode of this shit show?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I had an episode. Me and Sage recorded it, and then I accidentally deleted it, thinking I'd already uploaded it, and then I found out I did not upload it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that again. But if enough if enough people tell me they want me to do it, then I'll do it. But that whole episode, nothing happened, so it's kind of just like an extra waste of time. And I already have limited time with you guys as it is, so it's not that big of a deal to me, honestly. But if somebody wants, if enough people say like, "Hey, I'd like to see what your review is," go for it. I don't see that happening though. I don't see people actually showing enough interest into that, so I'm just not gonna worry about it, I guess. But either way, let's see. There's some more Tolkien stuff that we still have to go over, so we can get back to that eventually. I have an idea for a video that would probably be the highest production value if I could possibly produce, but I'm going to need help from somebody to do that. And I've already sent out some messages and.
Well, we could always do some like other fantasy product, old fantasy movies or whatever.
Sure.
Like.
I haven't. There's a lot I could do, but I also got to keep in mind what things that might interest people, because most of my videos that get views are Wheel of Time related stuff, and there's just not enough Wheel of Time stuff to do that for. Now, I have thought about we could do a theory thing about like Machin Shin versus Mashadar, who would win in the fight, yada yada yada, because just because Mashadar is an antibody to Machin Shin doesn't mean it's guaranteed to win per se. But who knows? And my dogs are going berserk. But I have an idea for a video, and if I can manage to pull it off, that'd be fantastic, and I would love it. But it's going to be probably video game related, more like console war related. But I am not sure with what exactly I would need to make it be a high production quality, because I don't have the means, programs, or skills to make that crazy stuff. So if I can get some help with that from people I'm talking to, that would be great. But if not, then I might have to put it on the back burner, because I was going to do some comparisons. But either way, we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for coming. You guys are awesome if you stayed this long. I don't even remember how long this thing is. This thing's it's 3 hours. It's pretty normal, I guess. For us, yeah. We definitely take longer than Disparu was, or Shad. But yeah, thanks guys for coming. We'll hopefully have another video out next week for the finale of season 3 and not have to worry about that nonsense anymore for a couple more years. But we'll see from there. So thanks for coming. Remember, my friends, walk in the light.